Oh, finals were good?
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's not letting me. I shouldn't have closed it.
What happened?
You gotta save it as a draft, man.
You don't save drafts?
Oh.
Can I see these?
What is that?
These drawings?
Oh, yeah, yes. Yes, you can. Those ones, let me see which ones are those ones.
Clowns.
Oh, yeah. Trying to do a clown drawing. I ended up going with this look, just something more cartoony. Like, well, they're all cartoony. But that's gonna be the final drawing. That's just a really rough draft so far.
What's this for?
I just want to get back into drawing. Because
Nice.
like at house shows, they like sell drawings and stuff, and I've seen stuff. And I'm like, I could probably draw like something like that or even better. And I've asked them, they make their money back and then some. So I'm like,
Really?
I could do that, yeah.
That's cool.
So I just think it'd be cool to find an extra thing to make money that isn't like going and lifting shit at Speedy Mart or going and lifting shit at an auto shop.
That's good, yeah.
Um,
It's good practice too, you know. It gives you
Yeah.
motivation to do it.
mhm.
Sorry I didn't mention you guys.
Oh,
good.
you didn't mention me? I'm so wounded, dude. Offended.
I had to do a quick one.
But yes, it is Screen Tongue 29. 29.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a little bit
29.
since I podcasted, since we've been on here talking about movies.
You haven't done Wizard?
No, I did do one, just a bonus one, not like a real one, with that kid Nick who was in town for a
Yeah,
week. 'Cause
yeah,
he
yeah.
wanted to be on. He wanted to be on Wizard, so
course.
like I had him on.
Damn, I forgot to give him some weed.
Yeah, we should.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So he wants to come back out for his birthday in like July.
July? Okay.
Yeah, as soon as he was here, he was like, I want to come back out like again. I want to live there with you guys. I'm like, okay. He really likes it out here. But yeah, at Screen Time 29, we watched Nostalgia, Last House on the Left, and American Pop. Anything you guys want to get into before we talk about movies?
This drawing reminds me of Joseph.
Which one? Oh, the arm. Yeah, it does, yeah.
He's got the gloves.
He's the only dude I know who wears fingerless gloves. So
He rocks them.
he rocks them hard.
I don't know. You know, I feel like lots happened since the pod. Oh, hey, listeners out there, stay tuned. Yeah, we're watching movies on the podcast, but we got movies coming out, so stay tuned. It's lit.
For real.
We need to have like just a Screen Tongue episode where we talk about all the films.
No, we're still got to do the direct. We're gonna do a director's commentary for everything.
Yeah.
That'd be
And then
fun.
we still need. What is it? Episode 24 is the fucked up.
Yeah, the lost episode.
Oh,
the
yeah.
AI episode.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not official until we have a lost episode. Now it's in the lore. You know what I mean? When they make the Screen Tongue iceberg, we're generating content.
We gotta put that on the Patreon.
Yeah, that's what I put. Like, it's
Yeah.
not just episode 24. It's like episode 24.5 as well. So we have two like lost episodes. I just haven't uploaded them because I want to upload them as one giant, massive podcast of lost episodes. But we haven't talked about the movies like properly.
I feel like I gotta watch it now again.
Yeah,
to be
for
honest.
real.
It was AI, Upstream Color, and Redline,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Oh
Okay.
man.
What a funny mix.
I loved AI too.
Yeah, it was
I
great.
really
It was
enjoyed
way better
AI.
than I remember it being.
We gotta talk about it. We got.
Upstream Color too was like definitely deserving of like a pretty in-depth conversation.
I was at the For the Culture place yesterday, and
You're so for the culture these days.
shout out to the For the Culture townhouse. Anyways, they were watching the Batman.
The original, like the
No,
Tim
the
Burton?
new one.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah, so I saw a few scenes from it. Yeah, it is very dreary.
Mhm.
Emotional.
Yeah. It made me want to kind of see it though.
It's not bad. I mean, it's not good. It's not bad. It's just to me, it's in between. Check it out.
Yeah.
We could talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, I still haven't checked it. I really wanted to, and then I was just like, I don't know. I don't want it to ruin Nirvana for me.
I don't think it will. It's just maybe the one song.
I heard it. That one song. I heard they played it like 4 times or 5 times.
Yeah, a shit ton of times.
Jesus.
It was kind of like eye candy.
Yeah.
I didn't want to look away. You know, it does.
That's
feel,
how they get movies now. That's how they release them. Marvel's like.
It does feel like a big CGI like mainstream movie, but it was cool. I enjoyed what I was like. If we weren't doing other stuff, I probably would have sat down and finished or watched more of it.
Impeccably shot. Greg Fraser, same guy who did Dune. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, everything does look awesome.
Did you say you fell asleep when you saw it?
Yeah, I've been falling asleep a lot, just in
Okay.
general.
I mean, you're working. That's another thing. Anthony got like a pretty cool job, but he's pretty
Yeah,
busy as well.
I'm pretty busy now, but like, whatever, because
Blunton's in the chat. Sorry.
Yo, Brandon, what's up?
He said something's in the way. I enjoyed it.
Brandon's been texting me about Robert Eggers.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Did you see The
Yeah.
Northman? Oh, I saw The Northman.
I haven't seen The Northman yet. Did you see it, Norby?
Nah.
No.
We saw Vortex though.
You
We saw Vortex.
Slept through
theaters.
that one.
You did.
Didn't mean to.
Vortex.
Even though I should watch it again, I do appreciate the movie, and like the more I think about it, the more it's growing on me. But like, I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah. I was talking to, I forget if it was Kate or Elijah, but I was talking about how I think the movie does a really good job depicting old people and just like their lives really do seem like so incredibly lackluster,
You don't think The Last House on the Left depicts old people? Awesome.
That's like the sped up version.
Yeah.
I didn't think about Vortex too much. Maybe it's just because I know it's kind of a busy week. His other movies though definitely like did something more for me than Vortex did.
Yeah.
Vortex, like I kind of got frustrated with it.
Really?
It's like in a way, he was almost making something that didn't really feel like a controversial Gaspar Noé movie, and then he like had to do shit to make it one. And I mean, like, yeah, that's like why that's like part of the reason like you go to see his movies, but in a way, I didn't feel like it had to go like as over the top as it did in some parts.
Towards the end, it's like it felt almost obligatory. Like some scenes that were in there, it's like I don't know if that was necessary.
It's like something like Irreversible, Enter the Void, like climax. It already has like that like incredible intensity about it. Like this like you already know the movie's like fucked up and stuff. This is just like I don't know. I don't know if he had to show some of the things he showed us.
You just felt like it didn't match the tone of the.
It does. It has a good like build up to it. It's just like
The decision.
he couldn't. It's like it's almost like he couldn't help himself.
Yeah.
He had to like be a little masturbatory.
He's just like this dude on NoFap trying not to relapse.
I saw this like Instagram post where it was Gaspar Noé saying something. He showed his dad the movie, and his dad's like 90, and his dad said it was like the most violent movie he's seen him make yet. But then it was like he probably said that because his dad's like 90. Like, I feel like if you're old and you see that movie, that is not.
It's like traumatizing.
Yeah, that is not a good reminder of like what's to come.
That's funny. Do we want to get into like the stuff we did for Spring Flicks?
If so, let's keep a time limit.
Yeah, I
on
was
that.
about to say,
Briefly.
yeah.
I mean, all I'll say is that, in my opinion, experience of it, from like maybe what is a bug? So is that October?
Yeah.
October all the way up until I would say like the end of April.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, and there's downtime, December was a bit of a break.
Oh
but,
yeah, big time.
But for the most part, those almost 6 months was pretty nonstop in terms of, doing stuff and working on stuff. And that was awesome, to be honest, It's like, the sack was full. And then at a certain point, I was telling Nori about this, but just to say it again to you, Elijah, it's like, and to the listeners out there, shout out to the listener out there, shout out to Brandon, shout out to the film fans, shout out to Backcountry. It felt good to say yes, you know what I mean? If someone wanted to do something, fuck it, let's do it, you know what I mean? So every weekend was like that, and it was good, but at a certain point too, it did feel like I was like in Deadpool mode, Did you finish the Genius documentary?
Not yet.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
We'll get there.
But
that'd be fun.
yeah, every project felt like it was gonna be the last one. Like, damn, I'm pretty tired, and then you just keep doing it, and you just yeah, it's like your limbs just keep growing back, and you just keep on going at it.
Yeah.
And it's like we basically made a feature. You know
For
what I mean?
real.
It's like the amount of time and effort we put into each individual one. That's like what you do, but for one project. And now it definitely made the concept of making a feature seem a whole lot less daunting, because it's like, oh, well, if you just do what we did like consistently, but like it's all for one project, it makes it a lot easier than having to shift between different, whatever you
Yeah.
want to do for each fucking thing. So it's like, all right, that was good. And if anything, that's like more important than however the films turned out. It's like just building up that weight class, You're putting the weight on the bar, and you just feel confident to go into to the next one. You're about to put 2 more plates on there,
For real.
And then it was cool. Me and Deja, we won an award for editing.
Yo, fucking badass. That shit was I was so shocked because I was like the first one. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that
what
was
the
funny.
fuck, dude? I was so fucking like, I was just like, I don't know. It just felt so like bizarre. I don't know. Like,
It did.
the whole awards ceremony felt so weird to me.
That felt like something you see in a dream, because it like the
For real.
the image just pops up and it's Anthony.
And then it felt like, I mean, they've been better recently, but it was a tie. Like, what the fuck, dude? I'm like,
What,
Anyways,
what
anyway.
did we tie? What did we tie with?
the
Anyways?
boxing one,
the boxing one.
boxing
I'm guessing
one.
because of
where it's like he punches him and it says E equals MC squared.
and then like it has like the neurons in his head or whatever.
Oh,
that little
yeah.
3D animation, which isn't editing. That's special effects. It's visual effects.
But anyway, we got
But-
runner up for best
Yeah,
sound.
but
Shout
you
out
know.
to Elwood for best sound.
on Night in Tunisia.
yeah.
That's so fucking funny. Let's see. Blunt said, "Yeah, I'm gonna watch The Northman at home. Realize wouldn't want to be around people when a super uncomfortable scene happens." Lamau, all right, for I feel you. But yeah, Spring Flicks. Yeah, fucking making a feature seems way more possible now, but it definitely takes a huge like mental health effect on you making stuff all the time. Like,
Yeah, I feel like I lost like 6 months of my life. Like
For real,
I'm gonna
yeah.
like die earlier because of
Yeah.
that, which is okay.
yeah, I mean, I like the stress from movies compared to like stress from like other like pretty much anything else.
Yeah.
But it's not like, but like you recognize like this. I'm working with friends, which is like this is like the best possible crew I could ask for, in terms of like people I'm comfortable with and like people who I want to work with. But even then, it's still gonna be stressful no matter what. So like recently, I've had like just like friends like come back and like talk to me about projects and stuff they want to do. Like, the camera's this, camera's that. I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm like, all right, that's cool, but like just like forewarning, make sure you're prepared and like because like they're coming at me with like $100,000 ideas, like if they want to pull off what they want to do. I'm like, you gotta have your shit together. Like this is it's not a joke, man. Like making shit it's tough. It's tough as fuck, and it takes like. If you're not prepared, you could die, shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like for real, you could die or like have bad shit happen to you. But it's fun.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It can be rough at some parts. I know, like we did like about 3 things from like, at least together we did GOG for Lucifer, What is a Bug in Yandi in 2021. And then we kind of did like just the same amount in like more of a crunch time span. With like Squint. Then we shot like Smotters, Night in Tunisia, and same shit. And like within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day
Fucking
basically.
crazy.
And then it's like that was already like a physical toll, but then like you got to go back home and it's like you just got to clock back in and start editing and shit like that to meet the deadline.
It was brutal, dude. Yeah.
You guys did a very good job with the
Thank you,
editing. You had a lot of stuff on your plate. I don't know how you slept during that 1 week.
No, I didn't. Like it was like I was averaging like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, for
but
real.
not even for that week. It was like the month, because I mean this is more personal, but I moved into a new apartment. I got a new job, and we were making all the films. So it was like, it was just the sub was getting too thick. I can't fit my mouth around this sandwich at a certain point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was totally worth it though.
Yeah, most
Totally
definitely.
worth
Like
it.
I'm excited to do it again.
Yeah,
it
me
feels
too.
good right now.
I'm just like I'm just excited that like people are recognizing it too. I think that's what's been worth it. Just like not going for the awards, which we couldn't help ourselves anyways. We're not going to go for the awards, but like having people recognize that, like just like I'm still coming. Like there's one dude who just messaged the Backcountry. Like I sent you that message, Davey or whatever. He's like I got a script about Lucifer, and I think you guys would be good to act in it. And he's like talking to the account like he doesn't know who it is either. It's pretty funny.
That's funny.
He's like, but I'll show. He sent me the script, so I can send it to you.
Did
guys.
you read it yet?
I haven't read it.
Okay.
Kate was reading a little bit of it, and she said it seems kind of goofy, but like we should still check it out.
I know, like after we shot some stuff last year, there was kind of like a thing where, I think you kind of said it where like you kind of want to keep doing more stuff, or it feels like you don't know where to go next. And after like the stuff with Spring Flicks, it does feel nice to have a break. It was very cathartic showing the movies to people and just seeing like the way people like naturally react to it is like the award in itself.
I wish I could say I've taken a break, but yeah, I mean at the award ceremony I had to leave early because, yeah, I was still shooting and editing and shit like that. But I'm excited. June will be the time for me to take a breather.
Fuck yeah.
It was what was I gonna say? Oh no, just about what you were saying about like that lull time. I was telling Norby about this, but you know, really when we're making stuff, or like a lot of times you don't really know how to make the movie until like after it's made. It's like, oh, now you know how to make that shit, right? And like that right there, it's like you're exhausted, but then there's like this almost sort of like wisdom or like creative momentum of like, all right, well now you have that experience and you can apply that to the next project. But it's hard when there's so much time in between, you know what I mean? It's like physically working out. You got to like, all right, you lost all this weight, now keep it off, you know what I mean? But it's like in the past few months and doing it, it's like we really could just keep that momentum going, and like whatever we were learning from the previous project, just almost like there was a direct correlation to it in the next one. And I think you can maybe see that also in like style and content wise, you know, we were all just around each other so much, just making stuff that there's things that blend in between, but I think that's kind of good, you know. It's like it makes whatever the next crop of films or whoever wants to be a part of it, makes it different, and it makes it better, and it makes it, you know, now it, like the same thing. We got a last episode. We have, you can like put some time period stuff to this stuff, you know what I mean? You can start to map it out, and then you can start to write your own history book, you know. It's kind of exciting in that way. But yeah, making stuff is cool. And it's hard though not to get lost in the sauce. So.
Yeah, for real. For real. You guys want to get started on one of the movies?
Yeah.
All right, we're 18 minutes in, so we're making decent time. Which one do you guys want to start with? Nostalgia, Last House on the Left, or American Pop?
I want Elijah to pick.
No pressure.
Okay, I'll pick Last House on the Left.
Oh my God.
I'll pick that one because I watched it first.
Okay, then you go ahead and start off the.
So I watched that on my new Blu-ray player.
Oh fuck yeah.
Very cool. It's Blu-ray. But I picked this one because I remember around the time of the Hard Roast, someone was talking about Wes Craven, and I'd always wanted to see his first movie, Last House on the Left. A long time ago, I saw the remake. And
is that the one with Jennifer Lawrence?
Is she in it?
From 2009 or something?
It's from 2009. Aaron Paul's in it. The dude from Breaking Bad.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's in it.
I didn't know Jennifer Lawrence was in it. I wouldn't be surprised, though.
But sorry, what were you going to say?
I'd seen that, like, got that from the library a long time ago. And everyone kind of, is she in it?
No, she's not.
Okay. Oh, you're thinking of The House at the End of the Street.
Yeah, that's it.
That movie is violent. That movie is quite violent. And, like, that was around the time where, like, all the 70s slasher movies were getting remade by, like, New Line Cinema and shit like that. I don't know who released that one. or like what's it called, Platinum Dunes, shit like that. Friday the 13th got remade. Nightmare on Elm Street, Last House on, or Hills Have Eyes, which was another Wes Craven one. Texas Chainsaw, everything is getting remade. So yeah, I wanted to see this one. My favorite Wes Craven movie is probably Scream, which is like probably his, I don't know, maybe his best one.
Yeah.
That could probably be like an argument or something. But I feel like this was like a good guy. Like seeing this, like, and thinking of the timeline of like when Scream comes out, and when like all the slasher movies in like the late 70s and 80s comes out, it's like Wes Craven was like the guy to like kind of make Scream. Definitely a good candidate for it. And the biggest thing about this one that like I think differentiated it from the remake is just that like, because the movie on its own, I feel like it's easy to watch it and not think it's like that great. And I don't think it's like the best horror movie or best slasher or anything like that. But it's definitely like a time capsule. It's a 70s movie.
Oh yeah.
And
Hardcore.
that was like the coolest thing I got out of it, was like, this is like a cool fucked up 70s movie. This is like a Midnight Madness type of movie.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of fun with it when I started to like kind of think about it like that.
Yeah.
How'd you guys like it?
I wasn't expecting it to be so like goofy.
It's funny.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
seriously
It's pretty
like
funny.
it was just like like they made I don't even know what it compared to. It just felt like watching like a cartoon sometimes almost, or like a comedy sketch.
Like when the chicken truck
Yeah,
scene happens. It's like, and it's right after like she
Yeah.
gets raped or
Yeah.
something.
Like there's like they follow it. It's like a plot is like very like, it's like painful, like horrific, and it's just like then B story just like they got like this wacky fucking like Yogi Bear music going and
Yeah,
shit.
the
It's
music.
like what the fuck, dude?
During the chase sequence too, it was almost like rock and roll. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It was cool.
It was, the choices were so like, definitely felt like they didn't have like video essays to like teach them about movies. They're just like really going like firsthand experience.
It felt like not even like a horror movie.
No.
Like just kind of like a fucked up hippie movie. It
Yeah.
almost felt like something as like a result from like the Manson family
Yeah,
or something.
most definitely.
The dude that wrote a lot of the songs that are played is also like the main bad guy.
Oh, that guy
I guess David Hess.
with the guy with the black hair.
Yeah.
I thought his performance was pretty good. Like I think he was the best actor out of all.
he was
of them.
very good.
Yeah.
That scene at the end where he's telling the kid to like kill
Blow his
himself.
Yeah,
brains
that
out.
scene was
that
cool.
was intense. And then that's kind of what I loved about, started to really like about it, is it just like, it went balls to the wall with everything. Like that scene is just kind of, if you think about it when you're writing a script, it kind of doesn't make sense. Like this kid's just gonna like listen to his dad to the point of him like killing himself. But then that, and like the lady lures out the dude to like give him a blowjob, and then she bites off his dick.
Dude, she like sucks his dick for a little while too. I'm like,
She's
what the
about to-
fuck,
yeah.
dude? It's like she like, I was like, dude, that's fine.
Now, like the 2009 one is like dark.
Oh,
It's
really?
not. It's not funny.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
scene, I think Aaron Paul plays the dude that like gets his dick bit off, like the same character sort of, but that's not how he like dies in that one.
Yeah.
But like the way she seduces him in like the 2009 one isn't like goofy at all. It's like it's more of a depraved movie, and this is pretty like depraved.
Would you say the remake was pretty good?
It's intense. It's intense. It has like some cool parts, but I haven't seen it in like probably like since like 2014 or something like that.
Oh, okay,
But it might fall victim to like that 2000s horror movie remake syndrome.
Yeah.
But like there's some cool like kills in there and stuff.
Okay.
It's definitely not funny. Not funny.
There's a lot of stuff that's just like in the original one. I guess it's just funny. Like the way the movie opens, where like the police said she was like the most beautiful girl, and then it just cuts to her topless in the shower.
Yeah.
I
that
like
part was
that
fun.
looked cool though, because
Dude,
like
the
the shower
shower.
was kind of
Yeah.
like fractalish. I like that scene at the beginning where the dude opens the door and the camera's like from the driver's side, and the dog runs all the way into the car.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. I like that.
I actually don't remember that part.
It's right at the beginning. It's the
I
mailman.
must have. Oh no. Okay, no, I remember. Yeah. Okay.
They got the dog
Okay.
to like run perfectly into the car.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah, that part with the mailman, fucking. Well, he said it like very special, like a very certain line. He's like, "That's like the most beautiful piece I ever seen," or some shit like that. And he's like, "She's 17 and shit." I'm like, "It's old man." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, it was the first time I realized like how like goofy it was gonna be was they already like kidnapped them and they're like running away from that apartment building like into the car. It just felt like watching like a hillbilly family just like running away and shit. Like watching like I don't even know if like fucking like some silent movie. With all like just running and putting shit in the trunk.
Just very physical.
Mm-hmm. Or, like they have to pull down the ladder with like a rope or whatever.
This movie too has like a really like after seeing it, it has a funny reputation, because I'd seen this on the poster before and it's on the DVD, but like like the little log line they put on the movie poster.
Yeah.
It says, "To keep from fainting, just keep telling yourself it's only a movie."
That's some like 70s shit.
But then it makes me think like, I mean, back then, what were like the fucked up big, like what would be something comparable to this back then, you know?
This is right before Texas Chainsaw,
Mm-hmm.
right? I feel like it's not even that it's like that fucked up, but like pre-internet, you just see that poster and be like, oh shit, let's go see this movie. It doesn't even matter if it's goofy or anything. They're playing a movie at midnight. It's like, you get everything you want in like the first 10 minutes, like nudity, gore, and just a good time with your friends. But I feel like it's also it is really hard though to like watch this out of context. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You go in and you in it like almost instinctually now you think of like a horror film or even a slasher movie, and it just there's boxes that need to be checked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you watch it and you can tell just by them making it, it's not really like that for them. You know what I mean? A lot of it does feel kind of just like stitched together with duct tape, in terms of putting together the movie, but that's part of its charm. And I think that's the thing that stands out the most, that it's like irresistibly charming, even when it's maybe not working in the way it's intended. It's like the Evil Dead effect, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It reminded me of Evil Dead too.
What did he make after this? You know?
I don't think it was what he made directly after this, but I think the next big thing was The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh,
And I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one in a long time either. But I remember that one too. Like, the remake is a lot different than the original.
I've seen the remake.
The remake's actually kind of good.
It was good. I remember I watched it in like middle school, and I was just like, I was obsessed with the movie for about a week. Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
Like the mutant people are like really weird.
They
show them a lot, but not like. It makes sense when they show them,
Yeah, it was I thought it was scary. Just like this dude having to go. I forget why he had to go into their little village, but like, imagine like having to do that to like rescue somebody or some shit. Just like that's scary. Like I remember I was in middle school. I'm like, dude, fuck that. Like I don't want to go in there.
I remember that part. There's like a reference to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in there.
In
that part, he goes in there and there's this scene in the original Texas Chainsaw where the girl comes out of the ice box and like someone comes out of an ice box and he like shoots him in the head. It's a cool scene.
He made before The Hills Have Eyes. He made an X-rated movie about the sexual exploits of a girl in love with her brother who decides to join the priesthood.
That's such an interesting plot.
This is the funny thing too. Is like you've heard like Wes Craven called like the master of horror.
Yeah.
And then like a lot of his movies are just kind of like
funny,
partial comedies.
Yeah.
Even like all of his notable horror films are funny. Nightmare on Elm Street is pretty humorous, and so Scream is built around that. You guys ever see The People Under the Stairs?
I've heard that one's kind of funny.
Yeah, I saw that one when I was like 8 years old though, and it kind of like got under my skin. But like even when watching it, just feels. But I think the thing about his movies though, it's like it's just so bizarre. Like it's bizarre. It's more to me. It's almost more disturbing and bizarre that it is kind of funny and like there's just like random shit. It's like I don't know. If it was just a one tone, then you really could say it's just a movie. It's just a movie. It's like I don't even think a movie should be this funny right now.
That's
he has a movie that I checked out from the library like when I was like in middle school called Deadly Blessing.
Oh, I was just looking at that. Yeah.
And it has the dude from The Hills Have Eyes in it with that weird head.
Yeah.
And like,
was it good?
It's like, no, it's probably doesn't get.
Oh, Sharon Stone.
Oh, I didn't realize
early
she was
in her
it.
career, probably.
I think it's about like it's like an Amish horror movie.
Amish.
Yeah.
What's the log line?
After her husband dies under mysterious circumstances, a widow becomes increasingly paranoid of the neighboring religious community that may have diabolical plans for her. So basically Rosemary's Baby, but with Amish people.
Yeah.
Which is just inherently goofy. Instead of Satanists, just think of Amish people.
Did he write and direct that?
No, I think he usually has like co-writers, right? Yeah, like this
he wrote and directed like a decent amount. I know he did like this one. He did Hills Have Eyes. Nightmare on Elm Street. I know he made a movie called Serpent in the Rainbow, but I don't know. That's about like zombies or something. And then he made a movie in 2010 called My Soul to Take, which is interesting because there's a line in here where someone's reciting that prayer, and that's like the kind of like the, I guess like theme stated of that movie. And that movie has like some atmospheric scenes. I thought the killer in that movie was pretty cool. But there's something about that movie that doesn't work because it's like him making like a teenager movie, but like in the 2010s. And
it's like 70.
Yeah, the comedy in it is just kind of goofy. But
Brandon said comedy horror.
Yeah.
But I think it's different than like an actual like horror comedy or something that like leans into it, because it's like he's embracing it, but it's not like it's like they're writing jokes, you know what I mean? It's not like constructed in that way. It just feels almost, even though it's not intentional, more naturally funny. You know what I mean?
It's like one of those. I always think of it like they couldn't help themselves when they were writing it. They're just like, oh, it'd be such a good point. just put that fucking joke in there.
I still can't get over the chicken stuff. Like
that was great.
I
like they try to get on the roof of the car, and she's like, "It's the chickens. It's you or it's the chickens."
Yeah, because she's like, "How much do you weigh?" He's like, 180, and then he asked the older guy, and he's like, "How much do you?" He's like 190, but I don't really weigh myself every day like that.
It was funny. Or he was just like, that part was fucked up. Like, the cops knew before that I think either of them were dead that the guy that they saw the guy's car, like they saw the murderer's car.
Yeah, and they're like, oh shit, like they fucked up, like
so they're on their way, and they're like, the car stopped, and he's like, you're out of gas, dummy. It's like, dude. Like, I just can't believe they're out of gas, and they could have prevented like these murders. And like they were like traveling all fucking night to get to their house.
It's funny too, just like the scene when like they're going to go get like some grass, and just the conversation they have, you know, and that, and also it's just like goofy that they end up at the parents' house, like, you know, it's just and
that's interesting though, because I've heard, I need to check this out on the DVD because I'm sure they talk about it, but I heard that this was inspired by The Virgin Spring.
Oh, really?
From Ingmar Bergman. That movie is good.
Yeah.
That movie's good. That came out in like 1960, 1961. And I mean, well, now that I said it, it's basically like follows the same idea, but it's from like this poem from like the 1500s.
Oh, shit. Wow.
So it is like kind of like one of those like oldest time stories. But like that movie is like, I guess if Bergman made like a rape and revenge movie, you know, definitely more like spiritual, meditative. There's a really cool scene in there with a tree,
Exactly. That's what you gotta say. Tarkovsky, Bergman. There's a tree in there somewhere.
It's great. You guys need to see it just for this part. It's so cool. But it's just like a cool way to see, I guess, like the way two famous directors tackle basically the same source material.
It's funny too, though, that like then the parents they find out and then they go to the forest and the body's washed
Yeah, I
up
was
right
like,
there.
what the fuck?
But like, doesn't she move a little? But then
No,
like,
I thought she was alive.
Yeah.
For real.
yeah, and but then like he's like, she's gone. Like,
Yeah, I was like, no, she's not, or whatever.
When they do kill her and she's like in that like pond dead, that part was gross.
it looks cool.
That looks
Yeah.
good. That looked, they like captured the tone.
It was pretty
well there.
fitting.
And then everyone, I think it's quiet for a moment. There's like no music playing, and they kind of all just like look at each other like.
It looked like they felt bad.
Yeah,
even, you know?
that part was pretty interesting. And then they like go and wash themselves,
Mhm.
and that would have been all right. But I think like some goofy music plays or something.
Yeah,
They
that's
did a lot of goofy music.
The thing that's great about this too, and how it's like such a time capsule, is like, okay, like in the Virgin Spring, like there's the way that like, kind of you figure out how the third act like comes together with the rapists and all that, right? And then in the 2009 version, they like have something to figure it out. And in this one, it's like they gave her like a hippie necklace, and they find out because he has a hippie necklace, you know, and that's just like. I like that. That makes it cool.
Yeah, the love generation.
They're gonna go see a band called Bloodlust.
That was funny. I was like, it's so fucking, it's overkill, but.
Oh, there's like a part at the beginning where they're saying like you're going out without a bra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was funny.
What do you think of that dream scene?
the teeth one.
Yeah.
That was fun.
And I like the cut too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were actually doing that for a second.
Yeah.
I was like, this
I
movie.
did too.
I thought the movie was just like really just went full on goofy for a second. I was just like, this is pretty cool now.
Just the way too, like they were putting out their hands.
Yeah, yeah.
Steak.
And then fuck, what else? Oh, dude, and it's just like, I thought it was, all right. So they go, they see her body, they take it back to the house and put it on the couch,
Yeah.
and then the husband's like looking for weapons, starts setting up booby traps and shit. I was like not expecting that. I'm just like, you call the cops or like go and like kill him, but it's just like, I just thought it was so bizarre that they did that. It felt like such a.
But like it was like a very extended montage too, with some rock
Yeah.
and roll under it of him putting the whip, the shaving cream and shit.
And it was just such a. It really felt like such a fun. I mean, that part reminded me a lot of Evil Dead, just like that whole like last scene of them fighting and shit, and setting up the traps and the.
That was
chainsaw
fun.
and
It
shit.
was.
It
Fun,
was. It
though.
was just like really like.
And the fucking chainsaw, you know.
Chainsaw was cool.
And he was like actually like like sawing through shit like fucking furniture and whatnot.
the door.
Yeah,
the way he
door,
was
yeah.
holding it though, sometimes it was like he was just doing the same motion just over and over.
Yeah, he was.
They probably had a real.
He,
They probably had a real chainsaw. You know,
Yeah.
he couldn't really move too much.
but yeah, he chainsaw through the door and shit, like fucking real damage. And then that scene where like you just brought up earlier, where he tells his son to kill himself. That scene was so funny, dude. I don't think he was gonna do it. Like I honestly.
I thought he was gonna shoot him.
Yeah,
but,
for
like-
real. It's just like, but that dude's performance where he's telling him to telling his son to shoot himself in the mouth is so good. Like his performance is so good. I was like really impressed by it.
He's on the ball.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
compared to everybody else. And then Mary also had a pretty good performance as well. Like
The
like,
daughter.
the daughter, yeah, she was also pretty good.
What about the dinner scene and when they're like, we're in both the plumbing and the insurance business.
Yeah, that's. I like how they got like super dressed up.
Yeah.
Where'd they get like? Did they?
Yeah,
did they have those
I
clothes
guess
already?
they had suitcases apparently.
That scene's shot like it looks funny.
Yeah.
The way the table's set up.
And then their son's like tweaking out because he needs his fix. And he's like screaming like
He lost a big client, probably worth like $500,000.
It's a pretty funny movie.
This would be like a really cool movie to see at like a drive-in,
Yeah,
like
yeah, I
late
agree.
at night.
Yeah,
Like I could see him playing this at like Snappy Burger if it weren't for
Oh,
like,
100%.
maybe
Yeah.
like some of the other stuff. But
Yeah, they play some weird stuff every now and then though.
really,
Yeah, every now and then they'll have like a weird option.
And you can put in requests, right?
Can you? Oh, I didn't.
Oh, I don't know.
I
I
don't.
thought I heard something.
you could try.
You could try. Yeah.
There's
maybe.
only like 3 people that work there.
Yeah.
I know John and I were there and we saw Cheech and Chong for a little bit.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool. And then Fear and Loathing was there the other day.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
You went
That's
to that,
cool.
right?
I did. Yeah, it was cool to see that
Oh.
movie, because I've only seen that movie like high, so I saw it sober, and I was just like, oh, dude, there's so much in this movie that I forgot. I just felt like seeing it like for the first time again.
Did you watch it all the way through?
All the way through, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Usually, whenever I go, we stay like all the way through.
Okay.
So now I've seen Fight Club, Idiocracy, and Fear and Loathing there so far. They're pretty
It's a
fun.
good selection.
The audio, I mean, but the car's audio sometimes is like takes a bit of getting used to. Like you need a car with pretty good audio to like immediately be in the movie. At first you're just like, damn, this fucking car.
That's my thing about the drive in there. And
Mhm.
I don't even know if it's the car so much as just the radio
The
signal.
connection, yeah.
Don't you have to leave your car on the whole time too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I mean, just make
you
sure
can bring a portable radio
Yeah.
if you wanted.
Oh, that'd
you
be
just make sure you
smart.
leave it running and not just the battery, or you're fucked.
The aux on.
Yeah. Yeah, bringing a radio like a boombox honestly sounds
That's
like
a
a
good
better
idea.
option. Yeah, with like batteries.
My dad has a like large boombox.
Yeah.
Probably like the length, little less wide than the table
Mhm.
is.
Was he an avid boomboxer?
I don't think so. But I don't know if it's a boombox. It's like a large radio though.
Mm.
It's like wider and longer than like the soundboard.
That's cool as fuck. Is it like old school or did you?
I think it's from the 90s.
So can it play cassettes and stuff?
Yeah, it does.
That's cool.
I have a few cassettes actually that
For
I've been
real?
meaning to show you guys.
Does your
yeah.
dad like? Is he still like in love with it?
No, not really.
So you could like
but-
take it wherever you want.
Yeah,
Does it take batteries too? So you can like walk down the
Um,
street with a boombox over your shoulder?
I don't know if I'd do that with it,
Dude,
but,
come on.
because I feel like it's not technically a boombox. Like the
What is it?
speakers aren't that big. I'll take a picture.
Oh,
Maybe
okay,
it is a
okay.
boombox. I don't know. I'm not.
Is
up
it
to date.
boxy or is it like?
It's like rectanglish.
Okay.
It's like a rectangle.
Is it more like a radio?
But it's got like
like a
like
radio.
iPhone edges. It's like kind of
No. It's like it's boxy
We should get like an actual boombox, like an old school fucking like box.
with like
Those
okay.
those are so fucking cool. Like the dual deck ones are fucking.
Are they like
badass.
squarish?
There's some that are square as
Okay.
fuck, dude. Yeah, they're like 90-degree edges and everything.
Well, this one has 90-degree edges. It's just a
Okay.
rectangle.
Well, yes,
I'll
send
take
the
a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have some cool cassettes.
We could have
though.
smashed that for Yandi, man.
Yeah, you should have told me this whole time.
That'd have been so cool, bro.
My dad gave me a few cool cassettes he used to have. One of them's Jimi Hendrix.
Oh,
I
nice.
experienced, so I want to listen to that.
Your dad
sometime.
likes Jimi Hendrix?
He has the cassette. Yeah, he likes Jimi Hendrix.
Does he like how much of a? This is kind of a wizard question, so like keep it like 20 seconds answer.
Okay.
How much of your music taste has been influenced by your dad?
Probably like half of it. Probably
Half
like
of it? Oh, shit, wow.
I got into the Clash was like the first band I ever really got into, and that's because
I actually just saw a video. Oh, sorry.
no, you're good. You're good. The first band I ever got into was the Clash because like when I was a little kid and we went to his like softball games, he had these 2 Clash CDs, which were both B-side CDs,
No,
and
that's really
got
cool.
into like their B-sides. So
And then Anthony, I'll extend the same question to you.
I would say like maybe 25%. Like they really just let me listen to whatever the fuck I wanted to listen to. I
Yeah.
wish they kind of put me on more stuff, but like now, like whenever I wanted to listen to shit, I would listen to it, and then yeah, I would say not too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate the stuff they like.
Mm-hmm.
They like Sublime. They like
Tight.
they like the I don't know, just old shit, you know,
Yeah.
hip hop.
Hip hop.
90s hip hop type of.
Not even. I don't even know. Like, see, honestly, I don't. To be honest, yeah, this is more a wizard answer. I don't know that much about my parents, like in an in-depth way. I wish I had a better relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Your turn.
Oh, definitely more so when I was younger, just 'cause like I don't know, it took me a little bit to get into music, and even then it was still kind of like I was always around like 60s, 70s, 80s music like all the time. Like my dad would like play a lot of Bob Dylan. He always made like jokes about like Queen and stuff, like all kinds of like stuff from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then I I don't know. I just decided to like explore a little bit more, and it's just like, holy shit, dude! They're listening to some old fucking music. Like, there's just so much shit that has happened since like the '80s that I think has been like a lot more revolutionary in terms of like what has been achieved in music. I mean, there's still like cool stuff to look back on, like in like seeing where like the roots of stuff. Like even like I like listening to stuff. But anyways, I think you get the point.
I think the '90s everything changed.
Yeah, the '90s was like a fucking. The 90s was like the birth of
crazy.
like the hip hop is like a mainstream fucking platform. I mean, the late '80s, but you know.
Everything started to get sampled from.
Hip hop took over from rock and roll.
Yeah,
though,
exactly.
You know?
Like '90s was like, just like blew everything, like out of the. It just changed everything, you know.
We're still living in its echo.
Yeah.
You know?
Even rock is just like. Anybody who talks about rock now is just like for me it's just like, well, what kind of rock are you talking about, buddy? You know, type of shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a lot of old people come in, they talk about like, oh, I love rock and roll. And it's like, you know, they're just talking about like fucking Led Zeppelin, like, or Guns N' Roses. Anyways,
Led Zeppelin's cool though.
they're cool.
My dad got me onto Led Zeppelin too.
They're cool.
So.
They're all really cool bands in their own in their own way, but
Are we announcing Vinyl Tongue soon?
we should.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a perfect time because I've been going and getting like a lot of records and like getting
You
like.
want to set
ready.
it for like sometime in June?
Yeah, we can even do it like this month if you
Yeah.
guys want.
Okay.
Just like, yeah, we'll plan it out.
We
We'll plan it out.
set-
Vinyl Tongue.
Okay.
We'll announce it. We'll
Yeah.
announce it.
It'll be a more official thing, you listeners out there.
4 listeners right now.
Oh, 4.
Wow.
We had 5 earlier.
Hey.
Thank you.
That's
They haven't
nice.
said much, but like, yeah, I got 4 right now.
I get the same dopamine rush when I see you listeners there on the live stream as I do as showing a film I put my heart and soul into, you know? So
For
thank you,
real.
listeners.
Hey, Blunton.
Yo.
He sent an emoji, or whatever the fuck they call him on Twitch. I don't know what they call him on Twitch.
The iPhone emoji's updated, but my phone can't update because it doesn't have enough space. But is it worth deleting like shit to get the emojis?
The
to
emojis
update?
are pretty crazy right now. They
What are
got,
the
like,
new ones?
They have a salute one.
It's like 3D now almost though, right? Like
they're
it
not
like
too- they're
no.
They
I
got
saw
they
one
got
where you
all
can
the
point
genders now, you know, for
They're not
everything.
too different.
Oh, okay.
Twitch emotes, brother. My bad. Twitch emotes. Thank you.
We should do one day. We gotta do an update. I know before we did it. We did a whole emojis thing before.
Did we?
Yeah.
We need to re-choose them.
Oh yeah, I think mine are pretty much
Emojis
the
are
same.
fun. Emojis are fun.
Where we like talk about like our top ones. Is that what that is?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, some of the new ones, like the melting one, is kind of funny. I don't use them, but I think I might start using them.
They're pretty funny.
What's
They-
this black one?
This one, it's like I don't even know. It's like an outlined emoji, you know.
oh, that one.
I see right through you.
There is a salute.
There's one that's like this, where it's like.
Yeah, I
Something
like
like
that
that?
one. I'm
Yeah.
looking at that one right there.
That one's funny.
I like the you see the melt one. They got a Pinocchio one now.
Mm-hmm.
I always like the
The
delirious
new ones are
one.
pretty funny.
I might have to delete some storage.
I like to react in emojis in the
Mhm.
group chat.
Okay, so
I think this is a good segue. Unless there's anything else you guys want to say into American pop.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
I'm-
segue in American pop. Yeah.
I'm glad I recommended it. It was, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little underwhelming for all the hype this movie gets, but if you liked this, check out The Virgin Spring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd give it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10, somewhere
Mhm.
around there.
Same. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. 6.5.
Definitely was different than I thought it was gonna be. Like that's
Mhm.
the big thing. And if anything, I appreciate it more for that. You know, it doesn't in the same way like Vortex. It's like, well, I don't know, Vortex. I feel kind of weird. It's like I kind of it was what I thought it was gonna be. You know. But anyways, sorry.
Vortex I thought was gonna like also be good. And like Vortex was like good, but it was
With like lowercase.
boring,
Mhm.
you know. But a good movie can also be boring,
It-
like Nostalgia.
I think it captures what it's like to be an old person so well. It's just like you don't want to be an old person. Like you don't want to watch it again. You know, it's like who the fuck wants to be old?
Yeah.
Do you know? I mean, obviously it's low budget, but in terms of resources, like, did Wes
Oh.
Craven just make this like? I mean, it looked like a crew of 10, like, and you look at the credits and shit like
Yeah,
that. But
it's
like, was it just like his friends or like?
It kinda
I
look-
have-
How did he make this movie?
I haven't
That's a
looked
really good
into it
question.
enough. I haven't. The special features on the DVD though, there's a lot. There's like several like making ofs And then there's like 3 commentaries.
Oh, wow.
And like each commentary has like different people on it.
Nice.
Oh, another cool thing about this movie really fast is Sean S. Cunningham produced it. And he went on to produce and direct Friday the 13th.
Oh.
So there's just a cool little like slasher connection. And then the remake for Friday the 13th also came out in 2009.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So the slasher genre is fun. It's a cool little like
Holds a special place in your heart.
yeah. I mean, I think everyone likes slasher movies like a little bit. Like you realize, except every few of them like are something like pretty special. I think, but it's fun to go see like a movie where there's like someone with a mask killing people and stuff. So, what's your favorite slasher movie? And then
That's a hard question.
Ichi the Killer.
Ichi, does that count?
I'm just kidding.
Probably because this one got me. I have a fond memory with this one.
I didn't mean to imply nostalgia was boring.
It is. No,
Oh,
like
no,
I was
okay.
gonna bring that up. I was gonna bring that up.
Okay.
I would say Child's Play 2.
Child's Play 2.
That's
okay.
the first.
Is that-
first horror movie I ever watched? I was like 8 years old or 7 years old. I watched it at my cousin's house, and Johnny had nightmares for like 2 weeks.
It's pretty. Does any of it hold up still from like childhood?
I haven't really rewatched it. But like we got obsessed with like the whole Chucky franchise like after that. So like I watched not all of them, just like the first 3. And like just would watch scenes of like the fucking like the seed of Chucky and shit with like like they look like
God.
straight up comedies.
No, yeah,
And then
like
the newer ones, there's a lot of Chucky movies right now actually.
Seed of Chucky, Bride of Chucky.
Then they have the
there's the remake with what's her name, the girl who gets bleeped in Scott Pilgrim.
Oh yeah, that one.
Audrey
that's
Plaza.
the newest one. The newest
Aubrey
one.
Plaza.
That one is voice acted by Mark Hamill
Mhm.
Yeah.
from fucking Star Wars, and it's like a Bluetooth fucking Chucky. It's like
It's lame.
so
He's a robot.
strange. It's like it's not like a possessed doll. It's like all the fun of it's taken out. It's like it's literally just Bluetooth. It's an AI.
I do have fond memories of watching, for some reason on MTV back in the day, like they only would show like the shitty ones, like Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky,
Yeah.
like on repeat. And so like I have like the opening of Seed of Chucky is actually very similar to the end of Enter the Void. You know what I mean? It starts
Oh,
it starts with the doll placenta of the Seed of Chucky,
yeah, it does.
and he is birthed into the world.
It's so fucking funny.
Then the Seed of Chucky, like the baby Chucky, looks so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does feel like an MTV movie though, like an early 2000s MTV.
Bro, yeah, MTV, they would show like funny shit like that, and then afterwards you could watch the Wild Boys, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I guess I would say mine is Ichi. I'd consider Ichi the Killer a slasher movie.
Oh,
you know what
Fuck
I mean?
yeah.
That's fair.
I didn't even
That's
think
fair.
that's a good answer.
American Pop.
American
Oh wait,
Pop.
I didn't give my rate. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead, go.
Well, I was just gonna give this just like a 70 out of 84.
Dang.
You know, regardless of how good the movie is, for me it means something if like you're setting the bar. You know, it's like you're paving the way. You open a door that you didn't know could be open. It's like we had this garage and we thought it was only connected to the house. Now you can go to the backyard too, and that's what Wes Craven did with making this movie.
It's an important movie to watch, I think.
Yeah.
You know? I'm glad we saw it too, just because like I feel every now and then we get those like film history movies in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
We had a good mix this time.
Yeah. Okay, so American Pop time.
American Pop. Real quick, Brandon said, speaking of Twitch emotes, if you set up BTTV 17, whatever, Franker faces, that'd be great. Lamau, whatever's free. I don't know what that is, so please tell me what that is, just in the chat real quick. But American Pop. American Pop. I've seen it's by Ralph Bakshi. I've seen 3 of his movies now, including this one, which is Fritz the Cat and Wizards. And when I saw this one, I just saw in like some video essay like talking about Ralph Bakshi. Like, oh, this guy's pretty fucking cool. I just like how he does animation, or just like how cheap it looks. I just like how cheap the animation is. And he was just showing some footage, and I saw some of the footage from American Pop. I'm like, that stands out to me. And so I just one day I just loaded it up, and I was expecting something like Fritz the Cat or like Wizards. which is like a pretty basic storyline. Like all of them are pretty like Fritz the Cat's. I mean, they're basic stories, but like they're set up like in such a weird. Like the structure's crazy. But I was watching this one in like the first like 15 minutes. I was like blown away as to, like I was just like, what the fuck? Like this is like so like I'm like so like down for this movie. It was like. I didn't expect Ralph Bakshi to be capable of like what he did in American Pop.
It's called American Pop, but it starts in Russia.
Yeah, that is. The show is so crazy. I remember. So it has like those little drawings at the beginning, and then it starts in Russia. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
It has like title cards too.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool.
It's really like, it's just I like how he's like admiring his roots almost, or like the roots of the character. Like, you know, everybody comes to America from a different country. So I really appreciate that.
That was really cool because I watched this directly after Nostalgia, and just seeing like all the fucked up shit in Russia. It's like, I guess this makes sense why Russian people are like upset. And but yeah, like what you said, where it's like, it was really cool to think about this movie. Each character's story within the context of where they came from.
Yeah,
that makes it so like
it's like it's like
story candy.
I don't even know how to. I've never seen a movie do that. You know, like there's not enough time doing a movie, or even like the budget, like going through each like decade. It's like
it's a perfect film to be animated.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, 100%.
Like if you were to do a live action version now they would probably try and do something with CGI and make it really. Like,
Baz Luhrmann would probably do it.
Yeah, you know, and it'd be like some 3-hour like not like a fun movie or anything. And this is just like the colors pop out so well. I think just because like it's like hand drawn and stuff like that. And you're able to like go back in time in like a cool way. A cool way. I don't want to say it's an easier way because I don't know like the whole process of how they draw it or whatnot. But
so
like,
they use rotoscoping. So they so this is cool. So fucking Waking Life is also rotoscoped, and just recently I found this video. So do you know how rotoscoping works?
it's like they're moving, right?
So it's like you take a video of what you have actors and they're acting it, and you take the footage and you just trace it basically. So like you get the motion of like the animated characters super like lifelike, very lifelike.
I noticed that because like there's parts definitely where there's like people moving and they look just different than like the background or something.
Yeah.
The background's like obviously like drawn differently and like when they're moving it's very like fluid.
I like how sometimes like there's the shot of him in the bus where it just seems like they just lift the window like how whatever they filmed, and I'm like, that's cool.
I really enjoy Ralph Bakshi does it a lot where he'll mix like real like footage with like animation. It's just
I like that a lot.
And it's not like it's not quite like Who Framed Roger Rabbit where it's like they blended it. It's just like or like where they drew the characters in the live action footage. It's just like they just had it in like the background. It's just
if anything it feels more just contemporary in a sense where it's just very postmodern, you know what I mean? It's like instead of trying to derive something that feels like whatever you're trying to do, like in the same way like Roger Rabbit kind of like blends it all together. This one just kind of like no, like you can just show it, you know, just literally paste it in there, and it works because it's beyond the sort of like execution and feeling of it. It's more of just the idea. He's getting the idea across, and that's what I think you could say for the whole movie, you know, in the way it's like constructed with. Well, first I want to say before I get too far into it is this was my favorite of the three. It was a pleasant surprise. It was awesome. It was so much to like. I loved that like almost like the sort of like metaphor correlation of like popular culture, but with like an actual like familial lineage. But then also the way that it progresses in time, and then the mixed media element of it too just made it just feel it just elevated the material so much. But to go back to what I was saying, it's like in its construction it really does just kind of like get the point across and move on, you know? It's almost like the antithesis of nostalgia, where it's like, you know, there's no time to simmer because it's like in life there's no time to simmer, and like things are always changing just inevitably. But I like I also like how the dialogue though was just very, in the same way, almost on the nose, or just very, very funny. Very, you know, it's funny, and it's just a very just funny, and because like it's like the same voice throughout time, right? He's just doing different accents, right?
I'm not sure if it's the same. I have no idea who's.
He does the last two.
Did he do the
Okay.
last
He
two?
does the
Okay,
last
gotcha.
two, yeah.
I don't know like who all the actors are, but it's like I did like how everybody had their own like style. It's like not everybody was like a character who was like very plain, you know, like that's very common in movies. It was just like everybody was like a character, you know. And like the accents were always thick with everybody. The last dude I had kind of a problem with when he grew up.
He started to talk weird. He started to talk really
That's
weird.
what I was like. The movie's great, and then like there's that montage where they have that Lou Reed song, waiting for. That's where I found that song.
Waiting for my man.
That's where I found that song. That song, I really fell in love with that song too. But that when they show that montage and they show him like the Elvis almost get up, I'm like, what are they doing with this character? And then like when he grows up, he's like an Elvis dude, but it's like he's supposed to be making music in the 80s, and I just think because his movie came out in like 1981, I don't think they quite knew how the 80s was gonna turn out.
It's a very interesting interpretation of it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
In some ways, it kind of spot on with like the Coke stuff and all that.
Like that part where there's that huge stadium that like was like Live Aid.
a little bit.
And that's
yeah,
crazy because if this came out in like 1981, wasn't that like in the mid 80s?
89.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I'm sure they had like similar like stadium concerts and shit like that, but that was that's my least favorite part, my least favorite section. But it's also like kind of forgivable. But I was telling Norby this, like they should like remake this movie.
No,
like Fantasia 2000, just keep on.
But almost like try to like just make it the same way,
Would
but just
they
like add on to it.
remake
you know?
it like
Show the 90s.
show the okay. Okay. All right, remake it how? So that's what I want to say. Like,
Okay.
I've thought because I like this movie, like so, like I admire this story so much, like what everything they're able to do, and in 130 minutes, and like the pacing is like so quick, but like it's just I'm really impressed by what they're able to do, and so like I want to hear what you think.
Remaking isn't the right way to say it. Almost just like a redux.
Redux.
Where like they continue it from where they left it off. Maybe edit like where they left it off just because knowing like the way history went. And then like add like the 90s and 2000s in there.
Be cool to see hip hop.
And like,
or, like grunge,
2010s
yeah.
almost. Like if they made this movie in like 10 years from now, like make up for the last like 50 years.
It would be the only problem.
That'd be tough.
It'd be tough just because
that'd be really tough.
A part of the charm or part of what really immediately drew me into it was just the admiration and respect they had for like vaudeville and like the beginning of like I don't want to say like cinema, but like it seems to be taking place in like the 1910s and stuff, and that's when like they had like circuses and clowns, and you know that's when like movies were coming up, and it's like they really pay homage to that, and that's when like I'm just like I really like everything this movie's doing right now because it's like I feel like I can really respect, I can just feel the respect they had for like everything that they showed on the screen. So it'd be like tough,
Yeah.
You know, it'd be tough.
Everything like prior to the 80s guy is like perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I wouldn't want them to really like change that or anything. And in a way, like if you change one part, I feel like in a way you do kind of change the rest of it, because it's all tied together. It's all about like the genealogy and whatnot. And it's another like time capsule movie, you know. Like you want like an 80s like kind of depiction of like history. It was a cool history movie too, even though there's not like it's not about like definite events or whatnot, like definite like battles or whatever. It like captures like the vibe of like World War II in like a cool like pop culture way.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do. What was your favorite song?
I think I knew you would like this for the Jimi Hendrix part.
That was so good.
I just knew you were gonna like suck it up so well.
No, that was, but it was like placed like perfectly though. When they're like, he falls in love, or like the one girl basically says like, she likes him, she loves him.
I can't do this without you.
Yeah, I'm nothing without you or some shit. Which also she kind of seemed like She was
It's like Fleetwood Mac mixed with like
Janis
Janis
Joplin,
Joplin, yeah.
Janis Joplin-ish, because she also like dies from like a heroin overdose.
Yeah.
And that's how like Janis Joplin died, I think.
It is. Yeah.
And then, just like Purple Haze being like the drug song, and then that part where like Jimi Hendrix is just like up there dancing with like the purple background, and like you know how to play the song on guitar.
Yeah.
He's not like really like moving his hands like
Nah.
the way you play the song, but that part was pretty great. I like the waiting for my man part.
Mm-hmm.
The songs at the beginning of the movie though were pretty cool.
Just
Like the jazz
just
stuff.
the ragtime.
yeah,
stuff.
that's what I was gonna say. My favorite was the Miles Davis song. In
Mm-hmm.
it. That one.
I really liked it for that reason. It just like the soundtrack was pretty well picked out in terms of like it didn't feel like anything was. I don't know. It didn't feel like a like how biopic movies when they show like the songs, like the very
greatest
popular
hits.
songs, the greatest hits. It feels like so disingenuous, but here it feels so like. It feels like a very true homage to the time, or just like it felt like it wasn't showing you like just greatest hits, but it was like I don't know, just it felt respectful. It felt
Everything
very
that was
respectful.
picked out and put in like a meaningful place.
Yeah.
It served a purpose. It wasn't just like the best song. For the best song, it was the best song that kind of represented the time and the way people's heads were. You know what I mean? This is like. No, this is what people listen to, you know, and that in itself can tell you so much about the experience of that time, you know.
Was there anything you didn't like about like the narrative? Kind of before like the whole 80s stuff.
Yeah, before that, I think probably I mean the pacing's really fast. And maybe it works. Like maybe if it was like if the movie was like 2 hours long instead of an hour and 30, maybe it wouldn't have had the same charm. But I don't know. I wonder about that sometimes. Like if the pacing if it could have been better or whatnot. Just because the third guy, Tony, the 60s guy, gets like the most screen time.
That's what I was gonna say.
And I think that's just because the people making it were that generation. They
Yep.
probably had like the most to say about that generation. Just like. How fucked up they got with the drug boom and stuff. But like the other characters are still really fun. Like I almost wish like I had more time with the first two. Like especially the second one. The second one's like when I first watched the movie, he was one of my favorites. And he's not quite my favorite now, but I mean just like seeing him on the screen was just fun. Like I just liked his character a lot.
He could have got more screen time.
Easily.
Even
yeah.
though he like dies like very like kind of quickly and whatnot. They throw that character to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought that, like, in a way, like my biggest complaint about the way the story goes, and it's hard to even like say it's like a complaint or a criticism because like the story like works so well because of it, but it's like a slippery slope. Like everything just like falls into place like too perfectly. You know what I mean? Like the part where that dude dies, he's like in Germany or some shit, and he finds a piano in like a rundown place, and it's like, this can't be the way he dies. You know? I thought that at first, like, oh, this is so great, but then it was like, I'm not gonna say that.
What?
No, I'll say
Just
this
say it,
later.
just say
No,
it.
I'll say this later. But like I saw him like go in there, and I don't know. I want to know how you guys thought about it, especially because it was the first time you've seen it. I saw him go in there, and I'm like, this is just gonna be like the melodramatic, like dramatic irony point. Like he's not gonna go in there and just play the piano and everything's gonna be okay. Like I thought, like okay.
You could feel
It was very like they were giving it away right there, kind of. At the same time, though, it's like super. It's cool. You know, it like fits the whole tone of like this, like, I don't know.
I think it's just because it has that. Because you know that it's gonna move on. Like you know, I don't know. It's like, I know what you mean. Like I didn't know that they're gonna kill him right there.
Okay.
But it's like I didn't know. Like I wasn't consciously thinking it, but I could feel that something was off. You know, like I could tell something was coming. It's
making me think of like the difference between the importance of surprising your audience and doing like what fits the story.
Right.
And it's like this weird line because it's annoying when you see movies and you can just tell from like maybe the way something's framed or whatnot, or just the way,
just the beats that have been hit.
You're like, okay, some shit's gonna happen right here, and like you see that all the time. You get like jaded from it. It's like annoying when you see that. Yet at the same time, like there are like rules to the way you tell a story, sort of, and like what's more important.
I think it really depends on your story.
Yeah,
you know,
in
obviously.
this case, I don't think it's bad.
Yeah,
but it made me think of that. Like him getting killed right there, and the scene like is pretty cool because he's like playing the piano, and then he stops, and then the dude says like "Donka," and then he like kills him, and it's like really like it's dramatic, you know.
I like how he's playing like a lullaby song, and the Nazi was like falling asleep. I don't know if he was. I'm confused if he was dancing or like falling asleep.
I thought he was dancing.
I heard. Who was it? We watched it with Emily, the girl that Johnny's been hanging out with, and she thought he was dancing too. I was like, I don't know. It's sometimes that's one thing that they complain about with the rotoscoping is they couldn't get the emotions across as well as they could have if it was just like pure hand animation.
I like that though.
I like the rotoscoping too. Yeah, I thought they did a good job getting the motion across. Honestly, I don't know what people. There's a lot of people complain about how the movie looks.
I feel like that's part of what makes it work though, is that it feels sort of off, because then there's certain details like they'll bend their neck down and you can see their double chin and shit like that, you know. It's cool. But in terms of like if when he dies and stuff at the piano, it's almost, you know, I think there's certain parts too, in the same way that there's like super like on the nose dialogue, like you kind of just need like an on the nose scene like that to move on, you know what I mean? It's like, and that's what it almost feels like. It's like it almost feels like it almost feels like a statement or something, or it's like, you know, it's like World War II happened, fuck it, you know? And on top of that too, you know, is like it's all this jazz shit until it isn't anymore. You know what I mean? Like it really does just die. Like things literally die. It's interesting too, and this is a little bit off topic of that, but like also just like how the movie is like, in a sense, almost about like manhood or like fatherhood in a certain way, you know, or like absent fatherhood, and like, you know, a lot of what they do is because like, you know, they didn't really have anyone to show them how to be when they grow up, you know, and then they end up passing that down, you know, because they're all just absent. And even the World War II guy, he leaves because he doesn't know how to have a family, you know what I mean? And same thing with, it was kind of funny when they're in Kansas and like, you know, he found his son and shit, and like, okay.
Oh, dude.
But then like, I like the scene where they're like, why'd you keep me around? And he's like, you know, it's like, cause he can't even say it out loud, that it's like, dang. And then that's probably the reason why they're able to make such cool shit, is because, you know, they're fucked up inside.
Yeah. What was your guys' favorite, like, dude?
Probably the 60s dude.
The 60s dude, yeah.
The 60s dude, he had the most like range, I feel like, in like what he went through. Because his dad was like a vet, but he like never really, he only like reaped the negative benefits from it.
Right,
you know? Or and then he kind of like, he wants to get away from that, and he like goes on the train, and that's like, the 60s is such a cool time. Like psychedelic rock is like such a cool genre of music, because like all these guys were into like blues and shit. Like there's obviously like this big like influence from like the 30s and 40s and like a lot of like southern blues and stuff. But then there's like this weird World War II happened, Korea happened, Vietnam's happening right now, and then like all this drug use mixes together like this blues, and it creates like this new
monster.
Yeah. And I liked how they traced that really well, because at first he's kind of just like almost like a greaser in like Kansas. He's like washing dishes, and he like falls in love with that chick, and like he can't be there that long. And
what does he say? Is it corny out here?
Fucking.
He has some good one-liners.
I like seeing the different talents too. Like the first guy seems to be like a good showman and shit. The second guy is good at the piano. And then the third guy, when you start on him as like an adult, it starts with that one dude, and like they're in like some fucking like bar or some shit. It's like this dude wearing a flat cap, and he's like, "The greatest minds of my generation were destroyed by madness."
Yo,
it's just
yeah,
like it's all
yeah.
about poetry, and so like his character's all about like writing songs.
Oh yeah, because
and
he's with
shit.
his friend. And he's like,
Yeah.
I heard they're smoking drugs in here.
Oh, dude, that part, I like that part a lot. That scene I really enjoyed that scene a lot this time around.
It's cool too that he's like a writer.
Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah, like he sucked. Like he said, you play guitar like a duck.
His hands were puckered.
Yeah, my hands are permanently puckered.
Yeah.
It was cool seeing the way like that hippie era developed. you
Mhm.
know?
And
What-
he got the harmonica from the hobo and shit.
Yeah.
on a train.
Mhm.
Like no wonder like there's definitely people who had to go through like similar situations.
Mhm.
And he goes out to California with nobody there for him, and then finds like hippies.
Like he finds Janis Joplin.
with like drugs and
Yeah.
shit, and they're obviously like people with like interesting ideas, and then mixing it with the drugs, and then like all this shit that's happened in World War II. Your
Mhm.
parents being in World War II, and now Vietnam, and crazy.
I love that scene where he first meets them, and they're like, "Do you will like bring us some songs, man?" He's like, "All right, I gotta go up to the place where I live," and even though he doesn't fucking
Yeah.
live there, like he doesn't live there, he's like, "I gotta walk over there," and she gives him the money. He's like, "Take the bus," and so he goes on the bus. And he's just like buying time just so he could write some songs
Yeah,
for them.
yeah.
Like he goes on the bus, has like a pen and like newspaper, starts writing the fucking like the Bob Dylan song. I forget what it's called, but that's probably one of my favorite songs in the whole movie. Just like him writing it and like mouthing out the words, just like so like I can hear like an old man telling that song. Like I had nothing. Like I didn't have a penny, but I went on the fucking bus with newspaper. I started writing fucking magic, just like shit like that. Just like so. It's just so cool and passionate. I just like I can't describe, like I haven't seen anything quite like that in a movie. It's like such a I don't know, I can't do it. I don't know.
It like sums up what it feels like a lot of people like what that time was.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just like it's
You
crazy.
could actually build stuff with your hands. Like you
Mhm.
could just like do it.
Mm-hmm.
Where now it feels like there's so many strings attached to everything.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a simpler time. Like,
For real.
and but at the same way it wasn't though, because in a sense things were so simple that like how could they still fuck it up then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
And there was like a danger to it, and like it was fucking.
I like the part where he's like tripping, and the
Yeah.
background gets all. It looked like a bad trip.
what's
shit was
in
freaking
this
me out.
drink? And he's like, it's just punch. He's like, no, there's something in this drink here. And then he's like,
What'd you
"Tell
guys think of that part? That whole like concert sequence, the way they did it with like the trippy background, and he's just like they're dancing and
me."
shit.
But then he gets scared, doesn't he?
he gets like he has a
I
bad.
thought
trip.
that was. I really liked that. Like they show everyone's faces. Like they use almost like a
It's
fisheye.
scary,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, yeah,
That shit
it
scared-
was
it kind
creepy.
of scared the fuck out of me. I
It-
was like, dude, I would fucking lose my fucking
And
shit.
then
if I
he's
was
like,
that high.
he's on the concert, and he feels like the stage is like growing,
yeah.
and then like he.
Dude, and they like Matt, you're already having a bad trip, and then Janis Joplin, or like the equivalent of Janis Joplin, pulls you on stage, and everybody's like looking at you and like trying to reach for you and shit.
From a song you wrote.
If I saw you, oh man, just brutal.
Woodstock is interesting too. It's just like can't believe it happened, you know? It's just
Yeah.
a lot of people just had a lot of time on their hands, I guess.
real.
Like I don't know what the fuck.
But it was like okay.
yeah,
Like
Like-
I feel like you do something like that. Like the equivalent to that now in a way is like EDC.
Yeah.
But like if you tell your boss like, how's that EDC? maybe like I don't know. Some of them would be cool with it, but it's not like something where it's not like this peace type of vibe that like Woodstock has.
or wasn't I feel like even after Woodstock though, like I don't feel like they went back to work or in the same
Nah,
way. You
fuck
know what
no.
I mean? They were just fucking. They were just around. Like imagine, like now we have homeless people. Like back then they just had fucking hippies. They were just like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
They're all young. They were fucking. I'm sure not all of them were young, but I liked hearing I liked watching Fear and Loathing for that reason. Him talking about like the Peace Generation, that movement in the '60s. Like he said, it felt like a special time. But there's other parts in that movie where he talks about like like looking and like seeing the actions he's taking. He's just like it's very clear I'm a victim of like the drug boom that happened to the movement. It's like the movement was like I talked to my dad about that a lot when I was like 15, just talking about like what happened to the hippies. Like everybody was pushing so hard for peace, and like I didn't understand like the world very well back then. I was like, what the fuck happened? He's like drugs. But like I like the Tony character for that reason, just like how fucked up he gets on drugs. Like it's like fucking scary. Like it's genuinely like he becomes like a crackhead. Like he's like one of those dudes who we'd see on the street now. Like
he's strung out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like super fucked
when
up.
he meets his son, he's just fucking slumped on the fucking couch.
What'd you think of that scene where he's out in the cornfields crying?
Near like
where he meets his son.
He walks out in Kansas into the fucking cornfields, and right after that's when Janis Joplin dies. Right?
Yeah. That scene I like that scene a lot.
I feel like it was like just being in Kansas and then like seeing that, and like he's making the correlation right there. The girl, it's like it's almost like the one that got away, but like times a million, because it's like the life, like, you know, you could have like. Because I feel like at a certain point too, when you get fucked up like that, like, you know, you're fucked up. Like, but you just can't really do anything on your own about it to change the situation. But like it's almost like nostalgic or something. It's like you see something that reminds you of when you were a kid, and you can't help but make you feel sentimental or emotional about it, right?
Or even just like thinking about you at a younger age when you weren't fucked up like that. Just like it's just so sad. Like when there's like so much potential. And it's like,
it didn't have to be like
exactly, yeah.
But at the same time, it feels inevitable that that, and then it makes you want to go right back to whatever it is that's fucking you up, right? Is like, then it's like the truth actually is unbearable, and that's what makes people addicts, right? Is because you want to escape even more. You dig yourself deeper into the hole, but then that's the difficult part about it too, is because when you're in the hole, it's not all bad. You can still make shit like awesome songs or something, right? And so it's very conflicting, and that's just in general, right? You know, you live your life and you're doing shit, and you're just even just around people or something, and you don't even know what to make of any situation, because you don't know, you know, there's things that like you grow up thinking like you wouldn't do, and then you do it. And it's almost like the opposite of the house on the last house on the left, where it's like, you know, imagine if they did go out and they're gonna go see Bloodlust and go get some grass, and it was an awesome time, you know. That really would be an impressionable thing on you. It's like, oh, it opens your world eyes up to everything. And that's what's funny about the last house on the left too. Just to go back to it real quick, is that like, as much it is like this, like, you know, midnight horror movie, it's like basically telling them, like, you know, don't do drugs, don't go out, stay at home, you know what I mean? It's a very conservative movie in that way, you know. But
it starts out with like put on a bra, basically.
Yeah.
It starts out with put on a bra.
Look what happened when you didn't.
Dude, basically it's like that rape shit, you know, where it's like, did you ask for wearing that shit? That's basically what they're saying.
But I don't know. I don't know I don't know if I agree with like when people say horror movies are trying to like condone that type of message. Like, have you heard when people say like the Friday the 13th and the Halloween movies, like they like say don't have like premarital sex, you know?
Yeah.
Because then you die.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like it's not more like an intentional message, as more as like
it's there.
Like, it's there, like, you know, it like.
You haven't come to a conclusion, Elijah?
No, I kind of forget. I like realized what I wanted to say in the first half of the sentence, and then didn't know where to go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like this happened, and then this happened. So like.
That see, it's not a correlation. It's just
two events.
Coincidence.
Correlation doesn't equal causation.
Right.
But they both happened.
Yeah.
So, but that's cool too, because like, if nothing else, it raises that like discussion to have, kind of. It makes you think about it, like, or does it not? Like,
I mean, yeah. I was thinking that while watching the movie, so.
You see a movie like Irreversible, and that's like a discussion they have in the party. There's like a scene where like he gets in an argument with his girlfriend about like what she's wearing, and like I don't think the movie's trying to like condone a message, but it is like, if anything, it's presenting characters like the way they feel about certain things.
No, it's presenting both sides of the argument, because inevitably someone is going to think or say or feel that way. And so if to ignore it and just like, you know, ignoring it is worse than just like having it in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But back to American Pie. I don't know if it would work though if like you had the 90s and shit like that, because so much of the movie even though I mean there's jumps like from jazz to rock and shit like that, it still feels of the same canvas. Whereas like if you jump into further decades, I feel like it gets just too far removed. You know what I mean? And then it becomes a clash where it's like, well, it's interesting. I think it would be interesting if someone did tackle that and did it, because my thing about it is like, you know, popular culture has always just been, you know, what it is. It's the lowest common denominator of a lot of stuff in a lot of ways, you know, because it's, but that's also the beauty of it, because it's instantly recognizable, right? You know, how hard is it for something to actually permeate in that way and last? But at the same time, it's almost like cannibalizing itself, because pop culture, for something to be popular, you know, means it has to be like relevant, which almost means something has to be irrelevant, or, you know, you have to hold whatever that is at a higher value. You know what I mean? And that's just life in general. You know what I mean? It's like at a certain point, you know, you have to acknowledge if you want to make something that's good, you know, like, no, there's bad shit out there, and you can make bad shit, and like, that's okay though. But it's like, you know, little off topic, not really, because it's part of it, but it's like, you know, just because you work really hard on something doesn't mean it's good, you know. But so I don't know about that in the 90s though, because it just feels like so off. Like you can go in so many directions. That's what it is. Yeah, it just feels almost like the Thanos snap, but like imagine like you know, you just see all these different avenues and paths and things with music, or just like popular culture in general. That I don't know, because like the movie feels like a rabbit hole. You know what I mean? It's like this leads to this leads to this.
Yeah, it gets pretty diverse after the 80s. Like in terms of popular music, it's just like,
how do you even present the internet in a way that represents popular culture? You know,
it's
because
hard. Yeah,
I feel like this is the way it would go.
Oh God, I'm excited.
The one in the 90s would be Kurt Cobain.
He's got the blonde hair?
Yes.
Yeah, that kid should have been in the 90s.
Or like whoever would come after that would be Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
And then
you were holding on to this the whole time, weren't you? Yeah. You saw it.
That's what. Oh, dude.
I was driving over here. I was listening to Nirvana, and I'm like, I got this. The kid in the 90s would be Kurt Cobain. And then to like, maybe, hear me out. He like, instead of like marrying Courtney Love, he like marries like some hip hop lady, and she's like black.
Lauryn Hill.
Lauryn Hill.
I know where you're going with this.
And like they have a baby, but he still kills himself. So, so then it's like, then it turns into like a pop star kind of for now.
Oh, and then it's Kanye.
Kanye.
Yeah.
But like maybe like Bruno Mars.
What the fuck?
Like that wouldn't be good.
Oh. No, dude, like imagine like watching American Pop and suddenly you start hearing Bruno Mars music. Like fuck that.
By the end of it. But like I feel like, because it follows basically like rock and roll. You know, psychedelic rock to like 80s, like Billy Idol, or what's the other guy? Billy Idol, Billy something. Piano Man, Billy Joel, that type of stuff. That's the vibe I got. And then the big thing in the 90s, like rock-wise, is like grunge. But then like Kurt Cobain dies, so like grunge kind of dies. Yeah. Basically.
You're not a fan of new metal?
And do you guys like Limp Bizkit? Have you heard Nookie? Nookie? Yeah. You do it for the Nookie? Okay. But like that's, I feel like, the way it would go, you know? Because like when grunge died, like then rock and roll was kind of just like, yeah. You get like cool stuff every now and then that like breaks through like
nothing,
the White Stripes.
Nothing consistent though.
Yeah, but like in the 2010s, what's like been like a big rock band that's been like its own thing?
Nickelback.
You know, like
King Gizzard. It's like the only thing I could think of.
One Republic.
One Republic. Yeah.
Like Greta Van Fleet.
See, that's my
Greta
thing.
Van Fleet.
But then it's all now we're into like rip-off culture.
Yeah.
Because even like King Gizzard, that's just like psychedelic rock.
Mm-hmm.
Repackaged.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's the thing that like maybe the movie doesn't, and in a certain way with it like being like a lineage, but like a lot of times too things are just kind of repackaged for a new generation, right? It's just like the same shit but different. But I feel like I wonder what someone who was around more in that time would think of the movie, because like in my head, like that's the thing, if you made it up into modern day, the last 20 years would be cringe, because like I know that music, and like that music to me isn't like in the same way almost have like the mythology to it that the music they're playing from the previous decades has. You know what I mean? It's just kind of lame. So like even the good stuff, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Like what going off the songs, when he plays like Night Shift at the end, the Bob
yeah,
Seger song.
I was just like, what the fuck are they
No,
doing?
but that's cool. That is kind of cool, like if you think about it.
I mean,
because like, his
the second
character's
time
like
I watched it, it grew on me.
his character's like dealing coke.
Yeah, true.
All the time, and the scene where he deals coke and he just like tosses the coke. It's so funny.
That part, they're playing a Sex Pistols song.
Pretty Vacant.
Yeah, Pretty Vacant.
Yeah,
that's where I got
cool.
that song. That part. Was, they did
but
that
like,
part with the fisheye too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
that shit was cool.
The cool thing about like the song like Night Shift is just that like all the songs were like reflections of like the way their life was.
It was, yeah,
and like all those people are cool because their lives were like tough, kind of. You
that's
know?
what like the hip hop was too, right?
So and like that'd be the cool thing if they did like the like hip hop or something like that, or grunge. But then like you said, you get into like the 2010s and whatnot, and then it's just a bunch of kids who are on their phones.
Yeah, it's just internet shit.
So like there's no great, in a way, like tragedy of our generation.
No,
I mean there are. It's just like very not in the same way, because
Yeah.
even them, they have to adapt to the climate and how you have to make it.
But yeah, there's a few songs they had in like the 80s dudes. Not really Night Shift. Night Shift for me wasn't like I'm not a huge fan of that song, so I'm just like whatever. But there's one song, it's like kind of like a hard rock song. It's like Hell Is for Children. I remember hearing that. I'm like, oh, this just sounds like a really generic hard rock song. I just didn't like that it was there.
What part's that?
It's like when just before they started playing the Sex Pistols song. It's like when they play it when he's walking down the street.
Yeah,
and
it's
you see
like
that
when they introduced him as older.
Yeah,
right?
and you see that old like Jewish dude like praying.
Yeah.
And that part's cool. I just like that they
That's
they
in the
brought-
song plays.
Yeah,
right?
that's and it's like, and then he's like you know, like to like the Jew is just like chanting his like whatever he was chanting, and he starts like fucking like that part was funny.
Because like he walks past the hall and then like he like
He walks
reverses
back.
in.
Yeah, I like seeing the comments of like I'll go and I'll watch like the clips on YouTube of that part, and everyone in the comments is like, "Why is he such a douchebag?" Like, what a douche. It's funny. Think anything else with this movie?
I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
You said it's different than the other Ralph Bakshi movies you've seen?
Yeah. So like I haven't seen all of them, but like Wizards is straight up like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and then Fritz the Cat is like I can't even describe that. That's like watching like a comic book almost, not in like a way like not like Scott Pilgrim where it's like visually like a comic book. It's more like the structure of it. It's just like really short, like almost like sketches that still kind of tie to each other, but it's like. That movie's kind of all over the place too. There's some cool scenes in it though.
How long does it? You know how long it took him to make this movie?
I don't know. I don't really know, but it seems like this one was like definitely the most serious one. Like the other ones are pretty like they almost like it seems like they don't really give a fuck almost. Just like like just animate this shit, and they're like probably stoned while they're like drawing it. I mean, I'm sure they weren't, but it just feels it has that vibe. Whereas like here it feels like a pretty like pretty serious like on the style.
There's a direction.
Yeah, there was like a big like just like a serious mastery with it. I think that's like definitely I don't know if I've seen like the other movies I've seen that he's made are more like in line with like Fritz the Cat. So I think this is definitely like this is his best movie for sure. But his influence on like animation from then on was like crazy. Like he helped mentor like a bunch of other animators who basically wanted to make like cartoons from like the 90s and like what we watched and shit. What was I gonna say? I still can't get over how scary Tony's arc is, though. Like, just like becoming a crackhead. It's like that's like the ultimate fear for me. It's just, I mean, I know I'm not gonna be a crackhead, but just like being homeless and like in that type of way, and like totally lost yourself in that way, and like squandered all your potential is just like terrifying.
It showed like the cool part of like being a hippie with all like the shitty part.
The
of
full cycle,
Yeah.
full arc. You know,
It didn't romanticize.
No.
I wouldn't say romanticize.
Like in that way, I could really tell that it was like, I knew that Ralph and whoever was on the team gave that the most attention, just because like they're from that generation. Probably saw like a lot of like the negative effects of like the 60s and whatnot, and psychedelic drugs. Like that one part, he's on the phone asking that dude for drugs, and he's just like, "Oh, what does he say? Like, do you got any dope? Or you got any smack?" Just like it sounds so sad.
He's begging him.
He's begging. He's like begging a dude in like in like this dark room. The lighting is so cool, the way they drew that. But it's just so sad, and I really admired that.
He pawns the kid's guitar and then gives him.
Yeah, and
Does he give him drugs?
Yeah, he gives him drugs to sell.
he said, "I'm gonna pawn it, then I'm gonna unpawn it."
Yeah, that part's. I like that scene so much too. It's like that last on a bench too. He just fucking leaves his kid there. And he's there like night and day, and this dude comes and he's like, "Don't sell all in one place." Oh, and by the way, he said, "Goodbye."
He's like, did he say anything else? He's like, "Oh yeah," and then he says goodbye.
Goodbye. It's so fucked up. Yeah, I really like. I'm glad that you guys watch American Pop.
Thank you for
Yeah,
recommending
thank
that.
you.
I knew I wanted to end it. That's the last animated movie I'm gonna recommend for, I don't know, whenever I feel like it, for now. But I knew I wanted to end it on that because that's like, that and like Waking Life really stick out right now.
I was
like
gonna say
some of my favorite animated movies
This
right
and
now.
Waking Life are probably of the ones you recommended my favorite.
Oh, we got some lurker, not a chat. Oh, Emily's watching. What's up, Emily? 4 viewers still. Brandon said they enable Twitch emotes for PC users. Basically, okay. After saying that, I realized it might be useless. If Lamau, I turned on Nostalgia, and my mom was like, "What the fuck is this?" when she saw the intro. That's funny.
What would you guys rate American Pop?
I give it an 80 out of 81.
Dang. You didn't see my my Letterboxd?
Oh no, I missed it.
I put my Letterboxd on there for.
I need to turn on my post notifications.
You
for
should,
you.
Yeah.
Have you been using it, Anthony?
I haven't seen too many movies, so I haven't been on it as much. But yeah, I haven't logged. I think the last thing I logged was maybe The Northman.
I want to watch some more stuff.
Oh no,
first.
Vortex.
I did watch this cool little thing. It was like 20 minutes from Richard Linklater. It's called Another Day in the Office. And it was just his perspective on life in 2019.
That's dope as fuck.
And it was, Richard Linklater's just a cool fucking guy.
Frownland and Daddy Longlegs.
I'm so excited.
Oh yeah,
we're ahead of the
dude.
curve though. We're
For
ahead
real.
of the curve.
They're putting stuff in because they watch us.
Yeah, they know we're trendsetters. You know what I
real.
mean? You're gonna go back and you look
More
at the
views.
date. It's like, oh
For real.
wait, that was before the Criterion. Like,
Man,
fuck
but
yeah,
the
it
fucking
was.
that fucking.
You don't like the cover, the Frankenstein?
No, I'm like confused. I don't know why they made it like. It's not even like a great looking Frankenstein.
Maybe they commissioned someone to do the art for
I think
it,
so,
and
yeah.
they just like the artist, you know?
Yeah.
Is that Daddy Longlegs thing from the movie?
Yeah,
It is.
because they're watching the.
Oh yeah, yeah. I still need to watch the last.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get to finish the last 15 minutes of that movie, but super cool movie still.
They said it's packed with special features. I'm
Yeah, me
expecting.
too.
I'm excited for a Frownland commentary. I just want to.
Dude!
I want to know more about
For
about
real?
it.
There's a Frownland commentary.
I'm assuming
Oh.
so.
If dude, there fucking better be.
What's your cat's name?
Whitney, yeah.
Where'd that name come from?
I don't know. We just when we got her, she was already named that. And I
Oh,
was like, that's a
really?
pretty cool name. We'll just keep it.
Does she respond to the name though, or?
Maybe I'm not too sure. She's mostly my mom's cat, so she hangs out with her a lot.
Oh, that's.
But like
funny.
whenever my mom's out of town, or not out of town, whenever she's not here a lot, she'll crawl out and like beg us for attention.
What would you rate the movie?
Probably like a 9 out of 10. Maybe a 9.5. Just the ending like fucks me up. It's like it's not a perfect movie, but I just like what they delivered for the most part. It was like immediately for me a pretty captivating movie. So I'm still thinking about that Frownland commentary. It's like I hope Ronald Bronstein agreed to do it.
I want that. I want like a making of.
For real?
Interview with Doorman.
I found.
Oh yeah.
I
That'd
found
be cool.
I found Ronald Bronstein's like old YouTube channel.
He has a YouTube channel.
He has a YouTube channel with like remember the girl who's in Frownland is like his wife, and she's like also in that YouTube channel a lot too. And she's like
the girl who gets pregnant or whatever. The high school girl.
the girl the girl who's like in Frontline who's like writing about how she wants to kill herself in front of the construction or whatever.
Yeah.
She's apparently she's his wife.
No way.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Ronald Bronstein's wife?
Yeah, Ronald Bronstein's wife.
Whoa.
I think they're married to this day. But there's not much on him. Like you can't even find like his age online. Like he's a pretty mysterious dude.
Yeah.
He's but all there is of him is literally just like his IMDb and like interviews.
Like 2 photos.
Yeah, 2 photos and like some interviews and shit, but that's it.
Yeah, there's this one interview with them, like all 3 of them at the Lincoln Center, and there's that one, and then the Josh Safdie one.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully, I didn't even think about that. If they get Dory Mann to do something, just
That'd
something,
be
because like
crazy.
remember in the interview
Yeah.
he says they haven't talked since in 10 years or whatever, right?
Oh,
So
dude,
that'd be
so
cool.
cool. But yeah, I need to find. I think I lost track of that YouTube channel. I need to go back and find it. But it's just like quick sketches and stuff. It seems like they just did like dialogue stuff.
It's interesting too that like they're kind of like not familially related, but they were in and around like Casey Neistat and
Yeah,
and
that's
shit.
always like that part always weirded me out.
Who's that?
Casey Neistat. He's like
It's like one of like the quintessential vloggers.
Yeah.
Like he kind of like innovated.
he's like the dude. He has like a really scrunched face and like his sunglasses are always like has like these
Yeah, his
white
face is
edges
like-
and shit. Yeah, his face is like that. Yeah.
What are his videos like?
They're just kind of like him holding the camera, and he does like some cool like editing or like camera move that's just like, whoa, this guy's creative.
He might do an unboxing video.
Yeah, an
from time to
unboxing.
time.
Oh.
He does. He just does his life. Basically.
Yeah, it's like you got to see it to understand the Casey Neistat vibe. It's just like,
But he was doing it like pre-YouTube. Like he used to have like in the early 2000s, him and his brother were doing like that type of shit. So like they're really innovative in terms of that.
yeah. The first video I saw from Casey Neistat, I was like, this guy's. I didn't watch him consistently, but like he had every now and then he had a cool video. But the one I saw was him in New York, and it snowed like super heavy, and he got a truck to pull him on a snowboard through the streets of New York City. He's just like snowboarding through New York, like the streets.
He'll usually have some type of cool vehicle with him.
Yeah, he's
like
always
he has
doing
like
some
his
shit like-
boosted board or some shit.
He's got like a wall full of cameras and like drones
yeah.
and shit. He's just got a bunch. He's basically like, if all of our equipment kept growing, it'd be like us, like. But like,
Okay.
if we didn't make movies, just vlogged.
What would you rate the movie, Elijah?
I'd give it like an 8.5 out of 10. Very entertaining. Very enjoyable. Yeah, I think it's good to watch movies before you write. Like a movie like this, I think would be good to watch before you write, because the story just flows so good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, hardcore.
So.
I like the dialogue a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they did the dialogue quite, but the characters are pretty well realized.
You gave it 80 out of 81, 9 out of 10.
I'm gonna use the restroom real quick.
Go for it.
Whew, the nostalgia next. Dun, dun, dun.
Burn it. Burn it. Oh.
But, I like how they made them sound in like the 1910s and shit. Like the dialogue.
Yeah, they were very New York.
Yeah, it was just like
I thought that was really cool.
That
They
one's-
made me think of my coworker.
yeah. It reminded me of one of my coworkers too, the lady from Boston.
It's like people in New York, they have some history.
Yeah, hardcore.
Like their grandma and grandpas had to be like seeing people die
yeah,
on a regular basis.
that's scary. Oh, what'd you think of that part in American Pop where he gets shot in like the neck or some shit, and he has like a raspy voice from then on out?
Oh yeah, he gets shot while he's in like the donkey.
Yeah, he's like a horse's ass.
That was clever. That was cool. I like how he gets like injured like that in World War One, which in a way isn't like a very like honorable way to get hurt. And then like his son is like balls to the wall in World War II.
Yeah, like he's just like
Their dynamic was really cool because like the father had seen like all like the fucked up shit about life, and he just wanted his kid to have like
a good life.
a good life.
And he set him up, you know.
And the kid just like wants to like, it's almost like the kid doesn't realize like what his dad went through, so he doesn't like respect it in a way. And then that's just something when like you're growing up, your parents obviously have more like experience than you, and they're trying to like set you on the right way, but you're also like trying to learn things for yourself and figure out your own path. I really liked what Anthony said about like the father stuff. You know that one line in Fight Club where he says something like, if our dads were models for God.
Then what does that tell us about God?
Yeah. It made me think about that when Anthony was saying that.
Yeah, pretty much all of them had absent fathers, which is pretty interesting. There's a big thing with absent fathers nowadays.
It's just like a humanity problem.
Yeah, and like it doesn't.
What do you do when that happens?
And just the statistics with it too, like how the kids grow up without a father and stuff. Let's see. Emily said I liked his voice more after. He sounded more gangster after he got shot.
You know the dude who kind of like mentored him?
Yeah,
he was like a surrogate father.
That dude was
guy
cool. I liked him a lot. He
And
never seemed to age. Like
yeah, that was the cool thing about him. But by the end, like he had like some mental issue. Remember that?
What
He was
it?
just repeating. He would.
He was just repeating one-liners.
Yeah, he would just he would just like say the same shit over and over
Pretty
again.
much, that's how old people are, man.
No, but it was like
Fucking like.
They just got a Rolodex that just gets smaller and smaller.
You could just see that vortex like fade coming over him. He's slowly dying.
he's like watching him on the TV, and he just says the same thing over and over again.
What'd he say?
He says like he always wanted to sing. That's what he wanted to do. He always wanted to sing. That's what he wanted to do.
I like that line so much, bro. He's like talking to him about like I forget what it was, like showbiz. He's like he's talking to the first dude, and the first dude's like, "It's the music I love." I just love that line so much. It's some old timey shit you'd hear. Godfather. All right, let's see.
Bless you.
Nostalgia.
Thank you.
We ready for nostalgia?
Yeah, nostalgia. You know, interesting. Yeah, I gotta say it right off the bat. This is my least favorite Tarkovsky movie so far.
Dang.
And so it's like, it's interesting that it's your first one. You know, it's like you probably won't even want to watch another one for a while, and I can understand why. But at the same time, I was watching it, and like, you know, it's challenging in multiple ways, but like first off, it's like not a lot of context is given to what's going on until like basically the end.
Yeah.
But it's like even at only like a little over 2 hours, it feels like the slowest burn. You know? So it's almost like cinematic vegetables, you know. Where like it's not, maybe it's not the first thing you would jump to, but it's good for you. And you know, I feel like watching this, and then even in relation to the other movies, it's almost like, and you know, it's like what the same movie that can put you to sleep, I feel like could also like keep you up at night, you know. And it's really you have to give yourself to the movie. It's when I watch a Tarkovsky movie, and that's why I'm a fan. You know, whatever you want to say, the like pretentious or whatever shit. It's like I like that shit, you know. And it's really more like when I watch his movies, I almost feel like I'm going through the experience he made making it, because you know, like when you make something, it's almost like you have to let go whatever preconceived notion you have of whatever you thought this is going to be or whatever, and let it be the best version of what it can be. You know, you have to actually be like present and seeing what's happening right in front of you, and appreciate it in a sense. And that's how his movies feel, where it's like, if you go in wanting to have a good time, or just like, in a sense, just being like spoon-fed, just being spoon-fed, you know. I feel like you watch a regular movie, you go to Netflix and you put on a Netflix original, you know, and they're not even just spoon-feeding you that shit. They chew that shit for you, and you're like chugging on baby food, like vomit or something. You know what I mean?
Funneling it down your neck.
Yeah, it's not even, you can't even enjoy it. Yeah, you got the stomach tube, you know what I mean? Because it's more just about being full, but you know, you're not actually appreciating anything. You know, there's no digestion of it. And his movies are just like, you know, it's like, this is really hard to watch, but it's almost like it's more of a mirror of like, all right, no, you just got to be invested, and you have to put in the actual work, because he's not going to really tell you anything, and he's just kind of present things, and if anything, he's giving you he gave you 2 hours mostly for yourself to think.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And at least as in the past like month or two, as things have gotten like progressively busier, finding the time for myself to do that has become a bit more difficult, and it's really just being committed to it, but it's important to do. And his movies almost feel that way, you know. It's like a baptism or something, where it's like, you know, you even, and for some it's a good 2 hour nap, and that's okay. But I feel like maybe what's missing for me in this movie versus the others, well, I will say that like, it was like frustrating up until maybe like the last two scenes, where it's like it really tied it all together. And if I couldn't even really say it's a complaint, because it's very intentional, you know. But at the same time, I wish there was something more to like lift me out of whatever sort of slump it feels like. But that's the thing about his movies too. I feel like in the long take, what it helps to do in terms of like cinematic language is it helps to sustain some sort of idea of, what's it called? Not like not a suspension of disbelief, but like more of like a suspension of the awareness of what we're trained to do in terms of visual literacy and watching a movie, and like just waiting for just like regular structure shit, right? You know, you get introduced to the characters, the conflict, the wants and needs, you know, they go through their trials and tribulations, there's a climax and all that shit. It's like, that's really what it is, where it's like, so I kind of lost what I was going to with that, but it's more just like, it's meditative, and just to give a brief background, like a lot of his movies are pretty autobiographical, and at this time he really was living in Italy, and he moved away from Russia, and a lot of that stuff he was kind of just dealing with, like he had a family, and he kind of just left his family, and all that shit, and then so it's interesting. It's almost, I guess that's what it is. Maybe I haven't seen Ivan's childhood, but like it feels like a very autobiographical movie, and just feels like all his movies really just, I feel like I'm saying feels like a lot, but it feels just like more just him saying where he is at this moment in time, you know. And that's what's cool about him, is to me, is that like, you know, at a certain point you really can't be concerned with how people are going to receive your movie. Like, you know, do you think he was really thinking of like how to keep the audience entertained when he was making this shit? No, he was thinking of like, how do I can express what I'm feeling right now and what I'm thinking about. And because a lot of times too, it's like, how many times does an audience really know how to digest something that's new and innovative? You know what I mean? Think about music. A lot of times, some classic records out there, you know, were kind of received mixed or negatively, you know, and it's because people's ears, like in a sense, weren't trained to listen to things that way. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of something that's transgressive, is that you taught somebody how to experience the world in a new way. and I feel like Tarkovsky movies have the potential to do that, but in a sense it requires a bit of like this is, I don't know how to say it in a better way, but like intellectual maturity.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But I kind of went on for a long time. What did you guys think about that?
I think what you said, like cinematic vegetables, is like the perfect description.
That's such a good vocab.
It's such a like cinematic vegetables. It's just like because like I'm watching it and it's like it's hard to stay on it, you know, like it really like it like I wasn't expecting it to be so hard. but it was like but it's just like
it feels like advanced like you're in the advanced class, like oh shit, I didn't realize you can watch movies like
it was just like fucking like they say like, you know, like, oh, you should watch movies when you're thinking. I'm like, fuck, dude, I really, because it's like I remember like even like I was trying to like pay attention to them talking, but even the way I mean obviously it's in a different language and I'm reading subtitles, but it's like even the way that the subtitles are written out, it's just like I can't even grasp what they just said properly. It's just like I'm reading. I'm like I had to rewind I had to rewind this like just a simple like dialogue scene like several times for multiple scenes just because like I was reading the words but it just wasn't like hitting me. I'm like am I fucking retarded?
No, it's funny because like it's very slow. Like the words will be on there for an extended amount of time too. Like they talk like very deliberately, and it still just feels like it's not permeating correctly ever. Like
it reminds me of that one
so crazy.
The line in there where they're talking about poetry and like translating poetry, it's like you can't translate poetry. I'm like, this is exactly what he's fucking talking about.
And that's the thing about it too. To me, that like Tarkovsky, like I feel like beyond a filmmaker, he's an actual artist. Because like you watch the movie and it's like you're actually going to like the Louvre and looking at like the Mona Lisa or something like that. Where it's like if you actually go to a museum and look at a painting, it's actually a bit of a frustrating experience because it's like, I don't know how I'm supposed to really feel right now, you know? And like it's very quiet in a museum and it's just like you're just like experiencing, you're taking it in, like there's a lot of detail, but it's like also like it's a picture. And in this day and age, you see so many pictures. We probably in every day average 300 to 400 images a day. But yeah, sorry, it's like but then you watch something like it's like a sentence becomes difficult and it's like it just like translation living life is just translation, right?
For real.
And it's just hard.
So if there's any more translations involved, it gets like, especially for something like that.
There's like one of the first lines of the movie is like, I couldn't handle all her beauties.
Oh yeah,
some shit like that. And that one just like, I've seen a few of his. We've talked about. I've seen a few of his movies, but like. All his movies are kind of like that, where like all the dialogue is just like, what the fuck?
It starts on a tree.
Yeah,
it starts on a tree.
And like I was kind of like thinking about that going in, like, okay, when's that gonna happen? And it's like right at the beginning. I don't remember exactly, but he's talking about like her beauties or some shit, and it's like, what? What? It's like already happening. Well,
I was just gonna say, but like it looks like I remember thinking like, all right, they said like every frame of a Tarkovsky movie looks like a painting, and like I'm watching it, I was like, it does look pretty damn good. Like the shot, some of the shot compositions are pretty fucking phenomenal.
And just the way he blocks and stages people too, and in their direction too. At least in this movie, it's a lot of just like the image will just like it'll just hold until it feels like because like in the beginning there's a part where he does just like have a freeze frame, right? And then there's parts where it's just like, no, they're just still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like it works in this movie too, just like with the theme or idea of nostalgia and all that. It's like you're looking back at these moments and it's like memories almost feel like these things, these experiences that you like live in, like, you know, presently, but they become still images almost. And you only remember bits and pieces of that. And as you get older, you know, those things, you know, either get less or just like almost like murky, you know. And then visually too, it opens like in like the fog and whatever the grass is at that tree, but then they go to the church or whatever, and then or like that bath area, super steamy there and shit. It's just like
pretty cool.
And then it has all of his trademark shit, like it has like the sort of like flashback or like whatever, like the side sort of open to interpretation, you know, whatever it is. He sees an angel at probably his mom's house, you know. That's another thing too. I don't really like I looked at like the log line and still it's like I don't know how to explain the movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The log line doesn't do it justice.
No.
It's very just like meditation on art.
Yeah.
Meditation on like art and like specifically this one like remembrance or
Memory.
it's a lot like Mirror.
Yeah,
It's a lot like Mirror.
Mirror's probably my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of similarities, but I think the difference is that like Mirror really leans into like almost like the supernatural, but I feel like not in like a goofy way where it's like, because like there's stuff in this movie too where it's like things will happen and everyone this happen like you really just can't explain what just happened, you know. You don't know if it's coincidence or if there's something going on or if you're just making it just feels that way. But I feel like in Mirror it works a lot better in terms of like just visually and narratively what they do supernaturally to like put you in that experience, where this one is a lot more kind of like straightforward for the most part, outside of like his dreams or whatever.
The dude that plays himself, Andre, in this is the same dude who's the writer in Mirror.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool because he had like the same dude to play like two versions of himself, kind of like the aging growing up version and then the like older kind of like not in his home anymore. And that's interesting too because it's like he knew he was gonna die.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird to think about. It's like Anthony said it kind of, but it's like a weird Tarkovsky movie to start off with. Like
Honestly, the weirdest one probably.
Yeah,
it's like the worst one.
Yeah.
That's so unfortunate.
Like everyone talks about like Andrei Rublev.
All of the other ones.
Yeah. All the other ones seem to have kind of like this like expanded like discussion about them, and not that this one doesn't deserve that. It just doesn't get it. But like it's the mood like
It's almost like his Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
It doesn't. People don't appreciate it because it's not as iconic.
Right. Yeah.
The other ones have shit in it that's like you could instantly think of an image from the movie.
It's like in a way you watch it and it's like not super flashy, but then none of his movies are like flashy. But I guess like for
I would say they are. His other movies have shit that's like I still don't know how they did that. You know, back in the day, like there's shit in the movies where it's like wow they actually pulled it off, and it's
actually,
like it's like he's actually like no, there's stuff in the movie that's like genius.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how I don't know like it's like it's like you're experiencing magic. Like you're just seeing something that's like I don't know how you did that for real because like everything in in the 70s and the rush is for real, and then like you hear about like the way he would make movies. It's like. Oh shit! This guy's the real deal, and that's what's different. That's what's not frustrating, but different about this movie is that it feels so subtle, and that's what it is. It actually does feel more mature. Like it just feels like very, like if there's a word like I could use, it's like almost like seldom. Like it's like he's like not even really doing too much. He's just really saying where he is in life. It feels like.
I eat my words.
Yeah.
There's some stuff in Andrei Rublev that's like Andrei Rublev with some of the stuff that goes on. We need to show you Andrei Rublev.
Yeah, I saw the poster for it. I watched the movie on Amazon Prime, and I saw Andrei Rublev. I'm like, oh, they talk about this movie a lot.
Yeah, when Kareem said something about it the other day, it got me thinking about it again. But there's like some crazy like shots in Andrei Rublev of like large amounts of people that like. I don't know how long it would have taken them to orchestrate that, and then
and the way that he moves the camera too. Like there's stuff in here where he's like doing long takes and shit, but like imagine that times a Russian village. You know what I mean?
It was only like the second. It was the second feature he had made.
Wow.
And it's like a 3-hour like it's crazy.
Epic.
How the fuck? How does? Is there like a? Do you guys know a lot about like his coming up?
He went to film school, right?
Yeah.
He was making films for a while, and Ivan's Childhood kind of put him on the map.
Ivan's Childhood won something at Venice.
Did it really?
Yeah.
It won like the Golden Lion. That came out in 1962.
Oh wow.
And then he made his movies like every kind of like every 5. He only made 7 movies.
What was the budget for Ivan's Childhood? That movie was like it was a pretty sizable movie. Like they had a lot of people in it.
I'm not sure, but I know that that Soviet cinema did have like more of a backing.
Okay, gotcha.
They have like subsidies.
It's always
and
those
stuff.
people.
This movie I read on Wikipedia was like also funded by like Mosfilm, even though they did it in like Italy and stuff.
I feel like that was maybe part of it too, because like I don't remember exactly. Maybe it's similar, but like it has the like Italian sort of, they dub everything, and so maybe he was just getting used to working in Italy and all that, and maybe that's why it's how it is. But I don't know. But yeah, he's.
It's crazy how intertwined his movies are. And
is he like Kevin Smith?
there's
What's
something
it called? His universe.
There's a View Askew universe or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
the View Askew.
View Askew universe.
There's something about this movie. I don't know. I know I haven't seen. I'm not gonna talk about it. There are some shots though where like, especially like the last one where it's like zooming out of like the countryside, but
yeah,
it's,
that
like,
shit was crazy. Yeah,
and then it starts to fucking snow.
Yeah.
And then it snows even from like the far away, like far from where the camera is, and it's like, how'd they do that?
No, that's what I was like. That does look like a painting, you know, just like.
Yeah.
Like watching it zoom out, I was like, you could see in the reflection, like the pillars. I'm like, all right, it's gonna be like some weird. Like I thought it was just gonna be like a mountain behind him, and it zooms out. It's like it literally looks like this dude hanging out with this dog in the countryside, and it just like zooms out and it becomes like it looks almost like one of those like collages I'd see on like Instagram, you know? It literally looks like a Photoshop thing, but I'm like, that's so.
It's like a cathedral
it just
surrounded
looks so,
around a forest.
It looks so like royal. I don't know. It looks like fucking grand.
It's crazy because like when it like a lot of times I feel like in his movies it's like it shows something that's like very like grounded and human and personal.
Yeah.
But then when you pull out like that, it's almost like the eye of God. Like
Yeah,
this is
for
what
real.
God. This is how God sees things.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like, and it's like it's actually crazy that he's able to achieve that. And like I don't know, I don't know if you ever seen any interviews or read about him at all or anything, but like he kind of like walk the walk. Like he would the way he just like lived his life and talked was like how his movies are. It feels like almost.
There's this great interview that's like 2 minutes long where he's just like sitting in like a forest.
Is it where he's on
it
the
changed
tree?
my
Is he
life.
on the tree?
That
Yeah.
thing. He's like,
and it's just like the way he talks is the way his characters talk.
yeah. If he has his arms up like this, he's literally relaxing, philosophizing.
Learn to enjoy solitude.
Because it means to not be bored with oneself.
I have his book and I've failed. I
Oh,
haven't
Ashes
read it
of
yet.
Time?
No,
Or?
it's called Sculpting in
Oh,
Time.
Sculpting in Time. Sculpting.
But there's that scene in the beginning. I think like my favorite scene of like until like towards the end is that scene where the girl is like talking to the like statue of Mary, and she's saying something like mother of all mothers that enjoy that understands everyone's pain, that understands the joy of being a mother's, that understands that like I want to be a mother. That was like psychedelic. That
You like that part?
Huh?
You like that part a lot?
That was really cool. I really liked that. And then she fucking opens the thing and the birds fly out.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
He
That's
has a
pretty
lot
cool.
of shit with birds. He has trademark shit. He's got the tree. He's got birds.
Dogs.
Got birds.
Oh yeah, dogs.
The
He has a lot
fucking
of
dog
dogs.
doesn't
German
move.
Shepherd, yeah.
The dog just sits there.
He's actually a master at directing animals. It feels
It's
like.
crazy.
Like he's good. I don't know.
There's a thing in Andrei Rublev with the horse.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't even know how to describe that part.
We need to have an Andrei Tarkovsky like.
We talked. I think
There's
we
so
talked
much.
about that, yeah.
There's a lot.
It would be hard though. Like it
I
feels
feel-
like it's like once in a blue moon. Like watching this is good enough to last you for a while. Like I feel like it's long.
Dang.
It's long lasting.
Imagine would it be possible? What would you do if you just like marathoned Tarkovsky?
I mean, I could, but like I feel like at a certain point, like it would just like be like almost like too cathartic. Where it's like you read the whole Bible in a day.
Imagine
you
that
know?
though.
It's like,
Like, what's the proper diet? Like what should you be eating that day?
It's
Like the day you marathon a bunch of Tarkovsky movies.
You watch I know the first time I saw Stalker, I thought about it
What's
for
like the proper way to like wake up?
for like 2 months.
You would just like you couldn't like binge watch them. Like you would have to watch it and like go for a walk.
Mhm.
Or
You
just
want to
like
think about it.
experience life. Like his movies are a good companion piece to life.
We watch a movie at like 7 a.m. then go to the park and just talk for like 3 hours and come back.
We would have to go to like a creek or something.
a creek. Yeah.
We would have to do like a Tarkovsky film festival in the middle of the forest. And like set up a projector and stuff, and then like camp out overnight, but like without a tent.
5 viewers.
The performances in his movies are like really subtle sometimes, or
Yeah, or like it's interesting because like I feel like they like balance this weird line between more like figurative and like they're not necessarily characters so much as like they're representing ideas, and yeah, just like very subtle in terms of like they're not spelling out how they're feeling or thinking.
Yeah.
Even in their actions, really, it's just like
they're in a constant state of contemplation. I that scene at the end where he like walks across with the lit candle, and there's a part where like the candle goes out on him, and he looks like visibly tired. That was good.
Shit like that too. It's like, how long did that take? Is that a whole day?
It took a shit ton of time just to watch it, like
Yeah.
the finished product, and to know like they're shooting on film.
Yeah.
And that like everyone shot on film back then, but like, it's very encouraging to see like someone did that.
Yeah, and that's what I guess I mean too in terms of like it's just a good companion piece to just just life in general. Because like outside of a regular movie that maybe like gives you a good escape, this one almost like makes you confront like just life. It just feels like a mirror, because really, I like what I was saying before, in not show like and not really giving too much information. It allows you to like really just fill in the blanks, and in doing that you learn about yourself and doing that, because like, oh, I guess this is how I feel and think about this, and all that shit. What did you guys think about his relationship with that girl?
It was I don't think I fully got like all the information, but it was what was I gonna say? I mean, it was kind of a weird relationship, just because like she was translating for him, and he also had a wife, right? So like there's that thing where it's like he was like gonna betray his wife and shit that she says in there.
Yeah,
but I didn't fully get all the pieces of like what was happening between them.
It's interesting too, and then like at the end when she kind of gives her monologue and shit like that, even just her desires out of the situation, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
She's just kind of there.
But also not though, because like one of the first scenes is just with her and the priest, and she's asking, why is it mostly women here? And he asked her, he's like, wouldn't you know that better than me? And there's a lot of shit in there. It's like just like kind of like that. Then like the priest just like turns around, just like walks away slowly.
There's a really good blocked shot with that. She's like, it's kind of like a medium shot on her, and then it like pans over and like they rack, and it's like a close up of his face.
Yeah.
There's like some stuff like that in Stalker too. That's a really cool shot. I would think she has to be some sort of like fill in for like some romantic interest he had in his life.
Yeah, to me that felt autobiographical, and like even just the way it plays out, it's almost like he can realize how fruitless that was. He probably feels a lot of guilt for leaving his family.
I've heard, I need to read the book, but I heard somewhere like him and his wife were like thinking about getting a divorce sometime before he died, and he died like in 1986, and this came out in like 1983. So would have been around that time. He goes to like Italy
to get away.
Yeah. I think she was credited as doing something on the for the film though.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Claire Denis was the assistant director.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It was cool how or it was interesting. They like referenced his dad's poems
Yeah.
in it. That's weird too. It makes you that was a weird like thinking of like what world is this in?
Yeah.
But then it's interesting too that he references his dad poems, but the movie's dedicated to the memory of his mom.
Yeah.
And then thinking of that, it's almost like. Or sorry, I just want to say this before I forget. But there are things that are funny in the movie, like he spanks her, and then like there's a dad like a kid with their kid, like we're gonna go upstairs.
The dad's is like letting the kid watch drama, like full, straight up drama.
What part is that?
That's like where she has that monologue in the room, and then he leaves, and then she comes out, and she's like pissed at him, and then
he spanks her, and she punches him in the nose, and his nose is bleeding.
Okay.
And then also when like the martyr dies, it's kind of funny. Like he just like falls. And there's like the tweaker too. He's like spinning around and shit.
Yeah.
That part was good. I liked how they like actually set someone on fire though.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was cool.
That
I like that part where he kind of like immolate, or he kills himself basically.
Yeah.
But that's interesting too, because then it's almost like, in terms of like the movie's like this meditation on art, and like, you know, the poet's there to like research like this musician, but then this whole thing is about like the idea of like memory also. And then like showing this dude like the martyr, it's like almost like the prime example of like what performance art can do, because at a certain point like that dude is giving himself up to the world, you know. It's like it's like a memorable moment, you know. It's supposed to be symbolic and significant enough to inspire action and change, you know. But then it's like also interesting, it's like, I don't know, you know, it didn't seem like the crowd was very responsive to that, and maybe that was more of like a symbolic thing of like, it was more like a painting, you know. They were all just like still. Yeah. But then like you can think about that of just like work in general. It's like, then it brings me back to almost like the original point of like when Tarkovsky makes his movies, it's like, you know, it's almost like more declaratory of like, you know, I don't really fucking care if you watch it or whatever. I'm just making my shit because I need to make it, you know, to get something off my chest. And it's like, why do you even care about changing the world? You know what I mean? It's like just make do you.
Yeah.
That dude had an interesting story too of how he tried to like keep his family locked up.
Yeah.
And then it's like that didn't work, so he became crazy, kind of, or like declared crazy.
And then he's like, it's funny too. He's like, what does he say? He's like, I don't smoke, but can I have a cigarette?
Yeah. That part reminded me of Elwood for some reason. Like just like Elwood doesn't smoke cigarettes, but I can see him being like saying the exact same shit. He's like, you know, when somebody says they want to smoke, I get nervous and I ask for a cigarette too. Or I don't know what to say. When I don't know what to say, I ask for a cigarette. Just like
they said something interesting of like, try learning not to smoke during difficult situations or something.
Yeah. It's best not to smoke or whatever.
Yeah. What'd you guys think about what he said, the martyr, when he's on top of the statue, about like unifying society?
He's kind of just spewing.
It feels more symbolic of like what any of those type of people say, you know, because that's almost like the universal goal, right? Is like, for the most part, peace or some sort of prosperity. Or it's like, it's funny relating this to like American Pop or something, where it's like, you know, it's like almost like the trendy or noble thing to say, but in its actual sort of like application execution, it's like pretty impractical because well, first it has to be willing on every party's end, but on top of that, you know, it's also requires enough structure to come from almost like, I don't want to say singular in terms of one person, but like a coordinated sort of idea.
Right. Yeah. It's got to be a cohesive movement from everybody, and that's just not, especially like for something like that in America, even where it's like so diverse. It's like no way. But I liked how he framed it from like the like not really even like a classist thing, but like I mean he did kind of, but like mostly from like healthy and sick people. Like I said, like, you know, like we need to have healthy and sick people together. Like I was thinking about it, like I never thought about trying to unify society like that, and that's an interesting perspective on it. Like imagine building society so that it was okay to have like crackheads around and like trying to like get along around them, or even just like I don't know, just people who aren't like totally there. Just it's I mean, I think it's interesting just because there's so many people who abandon like sick people. And for most of the time for good reason, but like sometimes for not good reason. I don't know. I think it's interesting to like confront sick people. Like we tend to like hide them a lot, like in mental hospitals, and
a lot of like society is built around omission. You know,
it's like a reminder that you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And like you don't want to see that. You know, that's why people don't like going to hospitals. And
yeah.
shit.
It almost feels like weakness to not confront like sick people. You know, like it's like a denial of something, something, and like that's something that's just like a fact about life. But I mean, I don't totally know. It just got me thinking about that perspective on healthy versus sick people.
Is it implied from the beginning that the main character's sick?
I don't think so. I couldn't really gather like what was happening with the main character.
He died at the end, right?
He did, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. Yeah, he's dead at the end. I thought that was cool.
It makes me wonder too. I wonder how he like directed the actors, like what he said to him. Because it's kind of just like, at least in this, they just kind of like walk and look stern.
Yeah, it was the range wasn't pretty. Like the part where like the characters did get monologues and stuff where they were allowed to like give more. It felt like the actors were almost like trying to eat that up, you know, like really just like waiting for that one scene.
What happens in the middle of the movie?
They visit the house. The 1 + 1 = 1.
Yeah.
That part was cool.
1 drop of oil and with another just makes a bigger drop of oil, not 2. And it's like, oh shit, you know, that's basically like what relationships are, right? It's like, you know, you come to make something bigger, and it's not different. It's just bigger, and that's just what society is, you know. It's just things are there, and then we create these boundaries and stuff for each other. But really, it's like an organism, and it's like it goes from DNA all the way to like the human body. Where we got multiple organ systems and cells and shit going on in here.
With like translation and art, it's interesting how like the composer killed themselves. The crazy dude like sets himself on fire, and then the last dude like dies like trying to like light the candle.
Or he does, right? He fulfills his duty almost, right?
It's like you can only like translate something in dying.
What do you mean?
Like you can only like translate like meaning.
Oh, okay,
art
gotcha.
Because because like even if you make something but you're still alive, like you as a person, as you change, it almost changes the way people look at what you made before. And that's why you gotta wait almost until someone dies to really understand what they were doing on this planet, right? That's why genius, you know, it's not done yet.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll make another part 4 for Genius.
They announced that they were like following what he's doing right now and shit. But we'll see. I don't know.
Would it be with the same director?
I don't know, because I don't know if he wants to do it, and also if like they're on good terms. Because there's a lot of people that say that were like left out of the documentary that were like pretty integral to like the story.
Oh fuck.
One of my favorite people, Mike Dean, he's not in there.
Yeah, not mentioned even once.
For real, I was like, what the fuck? He's been around since the beginning, or
What
like since
fuck?
the first album.
That's dirty.
He's mixed all of them, you know. So, but then at the same time, I don't know if I would want it to be with somebody else, even if the guy's goofy. It's like, You know, you couldn't call it Genius season
Right.
2, and that the fact that it would be a season 2, it's like
That's
that
yeah,
in
that's kinda
relation to
lame,
like
yeah.
that, like it's almost like, all right, it's like, is it like Keeping Up with the Kardashians now? It's just like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just reality TV.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that's the issue. That's the issue I'd have with it, and that's the issue just in general with like most things. You know, it's just
But what if like Anthony from the future came back, like way older? He's like 40-year-old Anthony. He's like, dude, Genius Part 7 will change your life. You know?
I feel. Well, I'd watch it still. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I still listen to all the leaks and shit,
Mhm.
but like, you know, it just almost like the same way like pop culture cannibalizes itself. It like just lessens the experience of the old, but then you have the new to fill that
Mhm.
void almost. And thinking of that with nostalgia, it's almost like so I still can't. I'm still trying to just figure out like what was he thinking about? What was he seeing in like the
Mhm.
black and white sequences? You know, it's obviously Russia,
Mhm.
family, or just
Yeah.
things from his youth. But like that in a way is like when you feel like you've lost yourself, or you start to those things feel so distant from where you are now, and you can try to fill it with new things, but
Mhm.
then it's almost hollow because you're not even really fulfilling yourself because you don't know who you are.
Mhm. There's also that horse.
Oh yeah.
The horse
There's a horse. It's a white horse.
in the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the distance.
And then they have like the people standing around.
There's one shot where the horse and the dog are in the same shot.
It's a weird movie.
It's interesting too, cause like it almost feels like it could take place anytime, but that it's like almost like contemporary in like
yeah.
1983. It's like that's a strange time, like
Mhm.
for this movie to
For
be taking
real, yeah.
place. And then
It felt like it could have been more modern too. Like it could have been in the 90s or 2000s even.
it's interesting too that like Italy is the place he kind of chose
Mhm.
to refuge in, cause it's almost like the crux of like Western culture, civilization, and it's like I want to go to Italy one day just to like see,
Yeah.
cause like it's crazy to think like imagine a couple blocks down from your house is like something that's like 2,000 years old.
For real.
Like I actually couldn't like really fathom what that's like, and then to be living with that much history, to be dealing with your own history in a place like that is
Mhm.
it's just an interesting sort of setting.
Mhm.
There's the scene where it's kind of like him having a dream, and he sees the old dude in the mirror.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That
yeah.
was good.
They're walking down that little corridor.
He's gonna become him or something like that. That's real.
What are you talking? What do you mean?
Like I could see that as him kind of like a reflection on like what you don't want to become as an artist.
Oh yeah. Old.
Not even old, just like
Outdated.
someone you don't want to be
Obsolete,
like.
yeah.
You know.
Mhm. Yeah, that would suck.
But like, there's also gonna be times where you have like real like worries about that.
Mhm.
Because it's almost inevitable, It's like
Mhm.
imagine, you look at TikTok and you don't get it. Like I don't get it, But it's like nah, that's the shit right now. You know what I mean? A lot of people now that are in high school and shit, they've now had it since middle school, right?
Yeah, it's fucked up. Those kids are fucked. Those kids are so fucked, dude. If you've had TikTok since you're in middle school, the Chinese government has so much data on you.
You are basically a property of China. At
Yeah,
this
for
point.
real. Like you're gonna be the first people to get made robots of. Our generation's gonna be second, and then they're not gonna get the boomers.
Yeah, no, it's gonna jump right to
Millennials.
millennials.
Yeah.
American pop would have to have TikTok in it.
Fuck.
That's a good reason not to continue.
Yeah,
the
exactly. It's
the
just
story.
it would just be too cringe, man.
Yeah.
That's what, honestly, in today's day and age, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, maybe it was always like this, but it's like, I can't help but think of like the time I'm living in now as like almost like the lamest time. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like I don't know how this is gonna feel in a decade or two. And now it's even like the 2000s are far enough removed that there's like nostalgia for that.
Mm-hmm.
But even that, it's almost like a little like cringe to be bringing it up to me. It's like it still feels just like, man, that shit's old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That shit's old and it's corny. But then like you gotta realize that life is corny. I forget who said it, but there's this song, and one of the bars in the song is like, I met all my heroes and they were corny. And it's like, or something like that. It's like all my heroes are corny, and that's probably true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to say. Also, sorry about nostalgia and Tarkovsky and all that. Is that what I respect most out of everything about it is like how much like I just like sucked his dick and like deified him and how good he is. 'Cause he is good. It's like he's just a dude. You know what I mean? He's just a human, and like he might be philosophizing and shit, but like really he. Like, even in the movie, you can tell that he still has regrets, you know what I mean? And he's still struggling to find the answers for the things that keep him up at night, you know? And this is just the outlet for it. You know, we don't know him, and that's like anybody. You don't really know them or anything. And it's just a person, and like, you like their shit, and it might leave an impression on you, but, like, what does that mean as people when we can't help but when we like something put it on this higher pedestal, you know? And then that just makes me think about just life in general, and how almost like you're brought up to think that certain things have priorities, right?
Yeah.
Like your family, the memory of your mother, you know? And then if you're not respecting those, do you have to? You know, and that's the thing. Like, then you realize, like, you don't have to. It's like, really, it's your choice. It's your decision. So I don't know. But then it's like, it's your decision to think about how you think about whatever sort of like artist or person who makes stuff, because they already think a certain way about themselves, you know. And even if you feel like it connects with you and like they're speaking to you, no, they're not. You know?
Yeah.
You're speaking to yourself. And you know, the Tarkovsky movie is like prime for that, because there's so much open for you that you know, it makes you appreciate him, but you're almost focused. It makes you helps me at least focus more on myself.
It's like taking an edible,
A little bit.
but it lasts like a few days.
Side note, I'm gonna get back more into edibles. I don't want to smoke as much anymore. I'm like developing like a cough.
Oh, for real?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, yeah. Yeah, me too.
But I don't know. I also think that I just don't need to be getting high all the time either. It's nice to just because that's another thing too. It's like you get high and it's like the time I could have been using to, like, you know, think and decompress and all that, I'm not giving to myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
Or I'm filling that void though. It's like recently. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I'll just sum it up. Recently, I don't even really smoke too often anymore, but it's like I'm just filling that void with working. So it's like
Yeah.
you gotta say no at a certain point.
Therapy tongue.
Did you guys? How relaxed were you guys when you watched this movie?
I
was sitting here. I didn't want to be on the couch just in case. I'm glad I wasn't on the couch.
I watched it today when I got off work. I was pretty stressed out because I was trying to figure out this. It was actually very difficult so I redid the sound for same shit, and I exported that, but I just did it in Premiere. But then I exported it as a WAV file. But then the final export was in DaVinci because I like to do color last. And so I was going in there, but like, you know, like I know a lot of people say like, oh, you know, there's so much about DaVinci that's better than Premiere or Final Cut. But then a lot of the shit is just like unnecessarily time consuming to like relearn all of this shit. And that's any software, but like DaVinci feels like that, like time sent, like literally every single step of it is like unnecessarily like difficult.
It just doesn't like translate well to any other editing software I've seen. It's just like it's pretty like, even in presentation it seems like so needless. It doesn't. It's not like user friendly in the slightest.
It took me like 15 minutes. Like like on Premiere, even in Final Cut or something, like you can just like get the the actual project file. It's like a file, and just put it on a drive and just double click it, and it'll open up. They don't have that in DaVinci.
Really?
It gives you a fucking DR.
That's fucking strange, yeah.
DRB, DaVinci Resolve Database, that doesn't open in the DaVinci program. You have to configure a new database within there, and then it's all this stupid shit.
Oh, Jesus.
So I was a little stressed, but then I watched the movie, and then it's just been hard to watch the first, so I was a little tired, and so that. But then I watched the movie, and it's like it was a little frustrating. Sorry, I'm just saying everything, but then it gets to the end, it's like, oh no, Tarkovsky, he did it. The ending, the ending was good. The ending was good. You land it was but it wasn't even just the final thing. It was like the last 3 scenes, because you got the martyr,
yeah, for real.
then you got the main character doing his thing, and then you have the angel or the final shot,
out, yeah.
and it's like, oh no, it's like, all right, it makes. I don't want to say it makes sense, but in a sense, it's like it was worth it,
It makes sense.
That was worth it.
That's so funny. That should be like a Tarkovsky.
Talking about his movies is kind of difficult.
It's difficult, but then it's because but at least for me, I want to talk about him, but I don't know how to. I don't know if I have the right vocabulary to be like.
It's hard. It's like a hard thing of we're talking about how kind of self-reflexive it is. It's like, am I supposed to talk about it?
Yeah, it almost feels personal. I don't know.
I definitely don't think I have proper vocabulary to do it either. But it's it's almost like I have to rethink about the way I think about the movie. Makes you more contemplative.
Sometimes it almost makes you feel like reading Russian literature, like Dostoevsky and shit. It's just it feels like I'm missing some crucial piece of Russian history to understand it.
That makes me think did Russian people get this?
That's how remember how I was talking. I know you think this. Remember I was talking about liminal spaces. So Russians have different liminal spaces than Americans do, and when they're showing pictures of Russian liminal spaces, it looks like a Tarkovsky movie.
What's a liminal space?
It's so you ever see pictures of malls at midnight and it's nobody's there? It's from the shit like that. It's shit that looks kind of eerie in a little bit, but almost an old memory.
It's something normal that's creepy.
The strip but empty.
Yeah, or Chuck E. Cheese but empty or some shit like that, or some old playground you used to go to as a
empty
kid.
highway.
Yeah, empty highways at night or some shit like that. Stuff like that. It's mundane stuff. Especially stuff from the 2000s, stuff that doesn't exist anymore. That style of architecture was a lot more it seemed like it was just left over from the 90s and shit. Just stuff like that. If you look up liminal spaces,
that's true though. Especially in Tarkovsky's films, it'll just be shit that I don't know if that's unique to the Russian experience or not, but it's this is very almost otherworldly.
Exactly, but I think it is because. This guy was showing pictures of Russia, what people thought were liminal spaces in Russia, and it's old shitty fucking places. It's literally rotting fucking buildings and shit.
That makes sense, kinda though.
So it makes sense that he's gonna make movies that show what he thinks a liminal space is, or it's gonna be influenced in that way.
His culture thinks is a liminal.
Yeah,
because shit Chernobyl.
Yeah,
and just a lot of war post-war stuff that happened in Russia, come and see type of stuff. It's that's traumatic to a lot of people.
I think the way he shoots it too is a lot of times in interior spaces he'll do a full body shot. You know what I mean? It's a wide in a room, and it just makes everybody look so small, just very puny to just
When we were on acid and we were watching Stalker, I remember in one of the rooms the ceiling is really high, and I noticed that in this too.
Yeah,
the ceilings are really tall.
Everyone looks short.
Yeah.
But not, they don't look proportionally short. It's just the room is big. They're just they're small in the presence of God. Everything just feels like the presence of God. I don't know.
Does that feel like a European thing? Because we don't have shit we didn't live through that era of time where we were trying to make art to please the gods. The Europeans did, and their history Vegas was just like, you come here and you build a dam, you get drunk and you gamble your money. Like that's what all our architecture is built around, like getting addicted to shit. We don't have anything here that's supposed to be like like a monument to the gods. We don't have anything like that here.
It feels more religious.
Mm-hmm.
At least like a like if some stuff in like a Tarkovsky movie is like an accurate representation of like what people are thinking about, they definitely feel more like spiritual people.
Mm-hmm.
A while back, John watched Solaris with his mom. But John's mom's like from Ukraine, and
sorry. What does she think about the whole Ukraine thing? Do you know? Real quick, like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's not good.
Okay.
But I remember I talked to him a little bit about it and talked about like the movie's slow and stuff. But I remember I went over there and I asked his mom what she thought of Tarkovsky, or at least like if people watch Tarkovsky, and she said like he wouldn't be like something on TV. People like who went to see a Tarkovsky movie, it was more of like an underground type of thing.
Okay.
Where it's like you seek his movies out.
Mm-hmm.
She also kind of made it seem like the government didn't really like him.
No.
Oh, really?
And he was like kind of like not welcome back to Russia either. That's like the vibe.
That was part of the reason why he went to Italy.
So we need I feel like we should all read the book.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's like a goal for the summer.
Just reading the beginning of the book, he talks about Mir a little bit, and he talks about how some people sent him like hate letters, and then some people sent him letters saying like, "This was my childhood."
Mm-hmm.
It's cool shit.
It's cool. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's very interesting. I'd say he's one of my favorite directors.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also just cool learning about like Russian, or just not really learning about it, but just like experiencing a Russian perspective almost.
Knowing more about, especially now, kind of, I guess, with the current events, but just in general.
And even just like Russians in general are such a, they're not like totally mysterious to me, but there is that like, there's something about them that's just like different from the rest of the world. You know, like I can't think of another culture that's quite like them. It's big as fuck. Yeah, it's big and it's cold as shit. Like,
it really is almost like the only equivalent out there, besides maybe China, to the United States in terms of its size and just like, I don't know what potential, you know.
We almost blew each other up.
Yeah.
Like
that was a thing, yeah.
Like going and like fighting Russia is just known to be a hard thing as well. Like it never seems to go well for anybody in history.
They're tough people.
Yeah, they've got the cold on their side. And if you got the cold on your side, you're basically invincible.
I always remember in Call of Duty Black Ops when you play zombies, they got the Russian dude in there.
Yeah.
Is he tough?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty tough.
Fuck, I forgot what his fucking name was. He was funny. In Call of Duty Zombies, you had like one of each dude from World War II. You had like a Russian dude, you had an American, you had a German, and you had a Japanese dude.
I read this thing about Dostoevsky where
was it on Instagram?
No,
you followed a Dostoevsky Instagram account for quotes.
I do follow that. I don't read the quotes as much anymore, but I guess whoever owns that account lives in Vegas.
What? What the fuck?
They always post Vegas as the location.
That's crazy.
One time, John showed me this like book he had about like Russian philosophers and stuff, and I read like the first page of Dostoevsky's thing, and it was like in the 1840s or something. He was a prisoner, and they took all the prisoners out and put them out in the freezing cold, stripped them, and told them they were going to be executed. And they like had him wait out there for like 10 hours, and then told him like it was a joke.
So it was like the Stanley Kubrick movie, but much worse.
Yeah, like real. Yeah.
What's it called? His first movie.
The Killing.
That one after that.
Paths of Glory.
Yeah, Paths of Glory.
Yeah. Yeah, old people went through some rough shit.
For real.
Was it any rougher though than the previous generations? That like, because like what was rough to them, like, or was rough to us, like what they went through, like what was rough before? Because like before it's just like it seemed just like mass just poverty, right? Like everyone was just kind of poor.
And then there's like, I think everything's just so what's the word? Subjective too. Like I talked to my dad about this recently. I'm like, I asked him like, at what point, like which decade did you live through that felt the most modern? And he's like, well, it's like super subjective. Like when I was a kid playing like vinyl records and listening to disco and shit, it just felt like super like that was modern as fuck. There's nothing better. Which for me, I mean, like it's obvious that it would be like that for him, but for me, it's just like hard to wrap my head around because it's such an whenever they talk about it, it's such an alien time.
Technically, doesn't modern just mean like what is now?
Yeah, pretty much.
So modern's always gonna like have a present connotation.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mostly framed it in such a way that like, for me right now, living right now, it doesn't feel like so modern anymore. Like it feels like we're approaching future status. Like
Yeah, I feel like I'm living in the future.
exactly. Like I feel like I'm living in the future too. Like the shit we have now is like unbelievably advanced. And so I'm like, I asked my dad like what era for him was like the most, like what would he describe as like the most modern human? Like in the Matrix, they describe like the most modern era of humanity was 1999. So that's the most like that's like
the peak.
It's a peak. You get a bit of everything, like a bit of like some future technology, but it's like still not like it's not so far gone that you know it's that's kind of like how I think about it, but not quite. That's why I wanted to like ask his opinion on it.
What would you guys say then?
For what?
What's the most modern time?
Like the 90s.
90s.
I say the 90s. The 90s is like a good mix of like stuff from the 80s and beforehand and stuff that was to come, I think.
I'd say the late 90s.
Yeah.
Early 2000s. I mean,
I remember when the iPhone came out, that shit blew my fucking mind. I was in elementary school and I thought like we're not getting that shit. That shit's like some 1%er shit.
Yeah, it felt like a rich thing.
Yeah, like dumb fuck rich, and then like
I couldn't fathom everybody having the ability
for
to get
real,
an
yeah. And then like a week later, Mom was like, "We just got like the newest iPhone." I'm like, what? Blew my fucking mind.
what time is it?
It is 1:40.
Ratings.
Oh.
It's growing on me more now that I'm talking about it. I kind of want to go back and watch it again.
It's
Just like to. I don't even know. It's just It's just an interesting movie to me. Like imagine how it would be if it was like an effect. Like imagine training yourself to the point where it was like an effective movie throughout. It would just be such an interesting experience having gotten to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And like just going through and dissecting the movie.
It's weird because I know there was a point where I was like watching movies and just trying to like derive meaning from them, and it kind of fucked up with the emotional balance of the movie. You're not like treating the scene as like characters having like an interaction or whatnot. You're just thinking of like, okay, what's this mean?
Yeah.
Trying to think of it in like
it's a puzzle.
like. I guess so, but like it takes away, like it doesn't make the movie as entertaining.
You're literally translating what's being said.
And that's why and so like watching this, it's like, should I try and figure out? I feel like I shouldn't try and figure out what it means. Like in a way, it's okay if I'm confused, but just to more find some type of emotion in each.
Meaning in yourself, almost.
Yeah. And the movie's just kind of like inherently like non-cohesive.
It's like a Rorschach test.
So
Yeah, for real.
it's like you really gotta, you do gotta think about it. But like all his movies are kind of like that. Like
I feel like the other ones are a little bit more entertaining though.
Stalker, I think, is the most entertaining one.
Imagine putting together like a Rorschach test playlist for like movies where like you get like just like across time get like 100 people and like make them watch like these like 3 or 4 movies and just like see what the fuck it means based on the reaction.
That'd be a cool documentary.
But it'd be like a 50-year plus documentary. Like if we did it, because we don't have the resources to get 100 people, make them watch these movies.
I think we do.
We could find
could.
100 people.
I could get 100 people.
You have
Go on
like
Instagram.
300 Instagram followers.
True.
I got 1,900 at my disposal.
Dang.
Right here on my phone.
Think positive, Norby.
All right, then when we're doing it,
So it'll be 500 now.
We'll start with us.
I don't even know what rating to give this movie. I feel like his movies like
It's beyond rating.
yeah, it's like it's been deified by Anthony. It'd be like I wouldn't really watch it. I mean, I guess I'd watch it with you guys.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be something where it's like
Thanks, bro.
it'd be funny to watch it at UNLV or something. Like
Yeah, like in film 110.
yeah.
I remember in our 110 class, like we watched MASH, and like people hated it because it was like homophobic and like sexist.
They brought
and shit
that up
like
in the
that.
next class.
But
About how
but then like I feel like they didn't even talk about the movie. It was just all like the
criticizing that aspect of it.
yeah. And I feel like if they watched this one, they would just say how frustrating the movie was. Like
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like it just
Fucking
doesn't make sense.
Some kid fell asleep during Citizen Kane.
What the fuck?
They would
man?
probably fall asleep during
Oh,
that.
dude.
Everyone would fall asleep within like the first like half hour.
Imagine getting like a bunch of those UNLV film students and like strapping them down like fucking Clockwork
Clockwork
Orange,
style?
yeah, and just made them watch Andrei Tarkovsky nonstop.
I'd make them watch The Leopard too. Just
The Leopard.
Yeah, the leopard. That'd be fucking.
I feel like even
That'd be
like some
something.
professors might fall asleep.
I feel like having watched this, I could like definitely get through the leopard a lot easier now.
Oof. Italian history versus an Andrei Tarkovsky movie.
They go hand in hand.
Keep in mind though, this is like I wouldn't even say it's like my least favorite one, but it isn't the best one to like
Start.
yeah.
I would actually say
yeah.
Stellaris is still my least favorite one. That one is actually frustrating to me. Like I feel like it has lost potential, or like maybe I just wanted something else out of it.
Mm.
But yeah, Nostalgia. It just seems like it's just like a harder. Like I don't feel like you're not really understanding like it's like what Tarkovsky is
Right. Yeah.
necessarily from this movie.
But I'm getting all the
But
tropes.
Yeah, but you're still. It's like a sandwich that's low on like, not even meat, but like not like the sauce. It's like all the stuff, like the flavor shit's
So
like all the fun stuff. There's not a lot of avocado. in
This
it.
one is like the healthiest vegetable.
Did it just feel like so Andrei Tarkovsky's a chef and all of his other movies are like some of his best meals. What is this meal?
It's not even.
And what was the intention behind the meal?
It's like breadsticks. I don't even know.
It's
Was-
like
Would do you think it was breadsticks? If it's breadsticks, that almost comes off as like offensive.
Yeah,
Oh,
You
maybe.
know what I mean?
it's like he knew how to make the meal,
It's like a soup.
but like someone like changed.
Soup.
Someone like put
Oh,
like
shit.
like different ingredients in like the salt and pepper.
He used to
jar.
using Russian herbs, but now he's using Italian ones, and it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
flavorful. But it's like I never used oregano before. What does this mean?
What the fuck?
I would say it's like a soup though, where like soup has a cap at how good a soup can be. You know, I don't know. Besides,
Soup
like,
has
I
a
like pho.
cap.
I like pho. I could eat pho
Fuck
every
soup.
day.
I love pho though. I love
That's
pho
what I'm saying.
and ramen are the best soup.
But like soup has a cap in terms of like meals, in terms of
True,
like,
like
the
chicken
being.
soup. Have you ever had like a great chicken soup?
I can't have a bowl of tomato soup without dipping something in there. You
Yeah.
know, I can't spoon that shit.
For real.
Each Tarkovsky movie's like a different strain of weed.
What the fuck? So which strain is this?
This one's
It's
like
like-
foggy.
It's like the most indica one. That's like
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
He definitely captured like fogginess. Really cool fogginess.
Buy follow. I got a bot in the chat saying to buy followers.
bots.
Bots.
You saw Elon Musk might be pulling out a Twitter deal thing because
is
hella bots, you know, and they probably did their evaluation based on how many users he got on Twitter, and half of those are fake. Damn, you know. What I mean?
Whoa. Fucking. I saw that the FBI is trying to investigate him for some reason because he bought Twitter. They're now trying to investigate
I found this artist who worked with Kanye a lot. He designed the cover for the Yandi album and a lot of shit, but he also did like the creative direction for the CIA, like when they did their rebranding.
That's cool as fuck.
And I was like, what?
They're rebranding?
I'll show you guys after. Sorry, I wanted to bring that up, but
That's a big deal.
he actually, I'm
a
like,
big
bro,
deal.
this guy's cool. Like, anyways,
Was it a good rebranding or is it just?
it's just interesting that he did that. I don't know if you guys ever seen like the vegan chicken nuggets that there's like the simulation ones.
Mm-mm.
he does a lot. He did, Soylent, the soy milk.
Yeah.
He designed that shit.
Oh God, this dude's brainwashing people.
No, like he actually like he does a lot of shit that's like I don't even know how to describe. Anyways, yeah, I'm not gonna
That's
give
fucking crazy.
Nostalgia a rating, but picks next week. I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
Episode
Oh,
30 is
shit.
coming up. It's a special time. The 10th one. You guys know what it means. We have enough episodes now where you should know what it means. Paul Thomas Anderson.
There we go.
We're coming for you.
So which ones are? So how do we want to structure that?
4 and 4?
Depends when he's
4.
free.
Yeah, that's true. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, you're all good. You're all good.
But I could do next.
You're going to California to get
I'm
him.
going to California this Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Next weekend, though.
4 movies in. I mean,
The 29th? You could do the
aim
29th.
for that. Okay.
Okay.
I won't be here on the 12th.
Of June.
The 10th to the 17th, I'm going to be out of town.
Okay.
The 29th would be good.
29th.
So Hard 8,
Hard
Boogie
Eight.
Nights, Magnolia, and Punch Drunk Love. We got to watch some of those together.
Yes, most definitely.
Ah.
I prefer all of them together. That'd be fun.
Oops. Did you get that chat, Brandon?
Damn.
Brandon also said Monkey. What the fuck did that say? Monk yeah, don't get lung cancer. Also, careful with edible. Heard horror stories on ODing with them. Can you OD on edibles?
I thought you couldn't OD
What are you
on
talking
weed.
Yeah,
about?
that's what when Kate was freaking out super hard. I think did she tell you that story?
The CBD thing?
Yeah, CBD thing. Did Kate tell you that?
Yeah.
Fucking, she was freaking out super hard. She's like, I'm gonna die. I'm like, dude, you would literally make history. Like, you're the first person in
You
history.
said that?
I told her that. I was like, you'd be the first person in history to die off of weed. She laughed though, so it was all good. But she was still freaking out for like another hour or two after that.
Oh, there's that one part at the beginning of Cheech and Chong where the dude takes like the acid.
Oh, that whole scene is so
Dude,
good.
That's the most acid I've ever seen anybody do.
I like he gets pulled when they get pulled over by the cops, and they're just like fucking with the cops almost. That part's so funny. So anything else? Anything else for before we go?
Good to be back. Miss
For
it on
real.
the podcast. Miss seeing you guys too.
It feels so good to be back on the podcast.
Yeah.
Watching movies again.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
Watching
And we're going to be the consistent kings from now on. By the end of this year, we're going to be in the 50s or whatever the fuck. Yeah, in the 50s. Get ready for it. Episode 50. I don't even know what the fuck that is, but 50 feels like a good number to do something
We
crazy.
got to go back to the episodes, and because we planned out like up to like episode 60. What
We had a few.
direction-
Yeah.
We know there's a few
Who else did
directors.
we have?
I know I said Gasper Noé.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to put ourselves
You
through
know,
that.
do you know Hayden Riggs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring this up earlier. Fucking, I remember this is before I met you guys. I knew. Oh, what the fuck? Where am I going with this? Fucking, he watched Enter the Void in one of his classes,
Oh wow.
and I knew, and like I saw the intro to it. And I haven't seen the movie yet. I was like, oh shit, how'd you like it? He's like, it was the most boring fucking movie
What
I've
the
ever seen in my
fuck?
fucking life. I thought it was interesting.
That's interesting
But
that
he's the-
boring was the word he used. I feel
But
like
he was the only person I knew who'd seen it, so I'm like, damn, I guess the movie sucks for like a long time.
Yeah, boring's not the way to describe
Yeah.
that.
But like they're coming at it from that Star Wars Marvel.
I remember he was on the set of Assless.
He was
And
for one.
I
for a
said
moment,
something
yeah.
to him about Clockwork Orange, and he said he hadn't like seen it in a while.
Mm-hmm. He's actually like in his late 20s, I think.
yeah,
He
he's
just got
older.
like an award or something, I think.
Yeah, he won at Spring Flicks, didn't he? Or just in
Maybe.
general?
Someone won a student Emmy,
Oh no, yeah.
or someone got nominated.
No,
for
the
one.
student Emmys are on. Well, let's talk about it off the pod.
All right, for sure. Later, guys.
All right. Boogie.
And it like super rough.
Yeah.
It's fucking super seriously and shit. Yo, thanks, Brandon. Appreciate your support, man. You're fucking beast.
Shout out to Brandon.
Brandon, you got to come on the podcast sometime for real. I'll have you on here, man. Just like sit right there and just like say the shit you'd say in the chat. He's cool, right?
Yes, Brandon.
Is he the one that with the SpongeBob underwear? Or was that? Am I thinking of the story wrong?
No, I had a SpongeBob plushie.
Yeah, SpongeBob.
That's
You
right.
met SpongeBob, remember?
I still have it. or in my kitchen, and sometimes we would move it in the middle of the night to try and like scare each other.
That's so funny.
I think I got Boosh a few times with it.
He said, "Not to disrespect, but I'm shy." Aw, I'm Brandon. Well, you can keep being the chat champion. Love to watch though. Sweet man. Well, I mean, still gotta meet you someday, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll make that happen.
All right, y'all take it easy. We'll see you next time. Stay healthy. Stay shy.
Watch some Paul Thomas Anderson movies.
We'll see you next time.
Licorice Pizza's coming out on DVD.
Oh, sweet.
This is bad country.